Cheers, Jake. We're live.
In with me tonight, we got the Pen of Perspective, and we also have Michael Macintosh, and we're just gonna be hanging out, taking your guys' questions, and just kind of shooting the shit and talking about whatever comes to mind. We've already been doing it for probably an hour, so we thought we'd go live and let everybody else join in. How's everybody doing tonight?
Well, great. Down in the south of Brazil, it's a bit cold, but hey, we're doing good. No rain today, so good to go. Mike, how's things in sunny California?
Pretty good. Just been doing some kind of hippie new age stuff today, which is kind of fun.
What kind of hippie new age stuff?
Okay.
What I have here is, I think, called a moonstone. My wife is doing a lot of research on like the healing abilities of various gems and stones, and she gave me this, which is supposedly helpful in the regard of healing the person using it in order to help them communicate better. So I'm hoping it works, because I'm a terrible communicator.
What is it that you don't think, or what do you think that you lack in communication? What you think your difficulty? You say you're terrible. Why?
Yeah.
Specificity.
The specifics of it. I just think I'm just a weird person. Let's just put it that way.
We all kind of are. I mean, there is no normal, but still, what is the difficulty?
Just kind of awkward person, awkward and weird. And I think a lot of it, I look at parallels like Moses, for instance.
That's a big parallel.
Yeah, well, I'm not comparing myself to the great Moses or anything, but he was a terrible speaker. He would stumble and mutter and everything else, and but he had a lot of great ideas to share with people, and but because of the fact that he couldn't communicate, someone else was appointed to speak on his behalf. So I sort of...
That's almost always the case. I mean, Einstein didn't get out very much. In fact, he bought the same kinds of clothes, so we wouldn't have to decide on that. You have Isaac Newton, who was basically antisocial as all get out. He, actually got violent at times, and he was a recluse his entire type. And obviously we've got Nikola Tesla, who, died alone, penniless, still working on a lot of his ideas that were absolutely earth-shattering and epoch-changing. So, welcome to the world of the geniuses. Now, how is a moonstone going to help you communicate with people better? See, the thing about having objectives is, what is it that you want it to be easier to communicate? What is a specific difficulty that you would like to overcome?
Well, I just think in general, it's like that. Let's see. I think a lot of it, for a lot of people, has to do with spiritual stuff anyway. You may be very sensitive and affected by your environment or things in your environment. And sometimes that can hamper your ability to communicate what you're really thinking. You can tend to absorb the thoughts and ideas of your environment, and especially if you're empathic, and just sort of communicate those as if they are your own thoughts and ideas, But the idea for this and other things that I'm exploring, these gemstones and copper and everything else, the idea is that they help you to deflect all of that stuff, so you can actually more or less just focus on your actual self, and that's the goal, really. It's difficult when I don't know if either of you guys have like empathic abilities.
I am, but why the copper?
Copper is an electrical conductor, so
which is why the thought process.
Well, so immediately what came to mind when you told me about the copper just now was, I don't know if you remember, there was a gentleman that came out in the past. He was considered a conspiracy theorist. He wore this like crown of copper, and he had a gem in the center of it, and he said it helped him channel spirits because it actually connected him. And so I've always heard people using copper as like a conductor to everything, not just electricity.
Well, what he put on his head was a Faraday cage.
Like is that what that was?
Then he's got a crystal to concentrate the power, and the electronic, the magnetic resonance of the Faraday cage is concentrated into one of the greatest abilities to store memories, which is crystals. Crystalline structures today are seen, one crystal can be hundreds of thousands of terabytes of information that can be stored in the crystalline structure. So what we're discovering today starts to mirror things that we knew 12,000 years ago in Atlantis. We're finally getting back to what we lost so long ago, and we're about to lose again.
Well, and I wonder how long we've actually known about this publicly, just because you've seen it in sci-fi where they talk about storing information in crystals for the longest time, right? At least 20 years in sci-fi, I've seen it. Even going back to Stargate, they found a civilization where
crystals are thousands of years old. People have been believing. I mean, crystals were talked about in the Bible. That we shouldn't put our faith in. I agree,
and that's why I'm saying it.
People think that things are stored in there, but those things that are stored in there aren't necessarily helpful to you. I mean, unless you're the one who stored them in there and you know how to extract it. So
I just feel like it's a pretending of society to act like this is a lost knowledge. It seems like it's it actually is a lot. The thing is that we don't believe that these ancient people actually had the abilities that they did. I don't believe that they felt that the crystals were sacred and held the power to them being whatever. No, they actually used them like databases. Wearing a crystal around your neck, what you did is you put it into the reader, and it already read all the information like a fucking smart card. And so basically you held all your information, you got your energy sources, your money and whatever through that crystalline structure. That would have been something possible tens of thousands of years ago with the technology that they had, that we are starting to rediscover today after what the Mayans say, the fifth time that we've forgotten who we are. So Michael, have you noticed any benefits from using these since you started using them? I don't know how recent it is.
Yeah. I started kind of, we got a book on crystals and gems and things, and we've been looking through it. And my wife she's more interested in archaeology actually, but because of that we started collecting bits of stones.
You find those beautiful stones everywhere in archaeology. They're absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and so we started to research with the help of this book what these things might actually mean, and I've been experimenting to see if they actually do what they say they do, and it does seem to have definite plausibility to all of it. So yeah, I would say there's definitely some reality to it, and it does help. Some of these things especially do help. There is a constant there are sources of like negative energy that do affect all of us, and especially with the mass media and entertainment, especially. I think we're just constantly bombarded with this stuff all day, and if you have any TV or radio or whatever, any media exposure, you're gonna invariably pick some of the influence of that up, and it becomes you, essentially. Even though it's not really you, it gets piled on top of you, and the idea is to not be influenced as much by it, so you can actually formulate your own thoughts and see things as they really are. Now you can do that other ways, but this is helpful. These things are helpful to have in the environment for sure.
Yeah, my house has several salt crystals in them. The ones that they light up and they're kind of heated. So I just like the look of them, and they're supposed to cancel out negative or positive ions. They do something with ions. I don't understand enough about it. But at the same time, regardless, I think they look nice, and it can't hurt to have them in your house. That's how I feel about it. Like, whether it's crystal work or anything like that, what's the only negative effect it will have on you? I mean, I can't
feng shui, which is also where you put things in your house that allow the energy flows to allow you to eliminate where energy can accumulate because it's not circulating adequately. Regulating where your water flows so that you're not accumulating negative energies close to the things to where you're bringing good energy into your life. All those things are also associated to the chi, things that they understood, but that's understanding the part of the infrastructure of what all this stuff is. Yeah. Does it sound like woo woo? Yeah. Does it seem like, yeah, but does it work? Well, Michael's doing experiments now that are figuring out that, yeah, in some aspects it does work. Why? Because when you understand the logic behind it and you understand why you want to focus your energies on one thing. Whenever you focus all your energies on your objective, you have a tendency to achieve that objective. Whenever you focus your energies and you're able to focus the other energies of people around you into that singular objective, the objective has a tendency of happening because you increase the probabilities. Now, whenever the energy flows in the house, yeah, why? I tried to understand the psychology behind it. Now, feng shui doesn't work in the southern hemisphere. You have to flip it because they're actually talking about weather patterns and everything else. You've got, the wolf of the north. That's the howling north winds, the polar winds, those cold fucking winds that will give you the flu that 100 years ago would actually kill you because there were no real remedies for that. The best remedy is just to avoid the fucking cold wind. Okay, that's a really damn good remedy. So you want the energy flows to block out the adverse effects and allow good effects. You don't want energy accumulating in too many areas. Why? Because that's called mold and mildew. If you've got things to where nobody's trapped, you start with cobwebs, and after a while you've got mold, mildew, things that build up that just grow in the walls and everything else. You don't want that as well, because those also, like we see in older homes in the U.S. that are built, with their sheetrock walls and everything else is hollow, you've got mold buildup in there that can actually have a negative effect on your health because it's blown through your air conditioner ducts, and it also seeps through the tile and everything else. It eventually does get out of that center, and you don't want all that negative energy along with you. So there's a reason I built all mine with brick and styrofoam. But there's a fucked up crazy reason why I do all the fucking crazy stuff I do. I've got a forest. Why? Because I wanted to generate oxygen for my family. Now, am I a nut job because I've got grass and trees? Everybody thinks I am. But at the same time, I was looking at what are the things that have caused damage in the past that I can avoid so that I don't have that same damage in the future. And buying somebody else's house was, for me, a problem because somebody else fucked up their plan because they didn't have enough shit when they were planning it out. Why? Because most people don't. I mean, yeah, am I arrogant? Yeah, I built what I built the way I built it for a reason. I mean, I've got a chute that goes from the second floor walk-in bedroom, walk-in closet down to the laundry room. So I wouldn't have to walk upstairs and downstairs with the old lawn, with the dirty laundry. You could just dump it down a chute. I saw that in a movie, a 1930s movie, and I thought, hey, that's a great fucking idea. So I just implement. People think I'm crazy because I do some of that shit. But it's the end result is that we're not carrying dirty clothes throughout the house the entire time. The end result is that I've got clean and fresh air here because of my trees. The end result is that I've got a pet fucking jacu that comes and enjoys the safety of the trees that I have. I've got toucans and other birds that have shown up because of the forest that I decided that I wanted because of my oxygen. Others enjoyed it as well. And so, yeah, am I a nut job? Yeah, I am. Are there things that I can talk about? No, because in the majority of conversations that I have, most people are interested in what's the value of the stock market, or what's this marketing technique, or how are we going to influence, or have you taken the shot yet? I don't get into any of that shit.
What's the stock market?
It is a mental fallacy for people to throw their money into rich people's pockets.
Yeah. Oh, that's that thing we had before Bitcoin.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
You got a new stock to watch.
It's a new stock. Just like gold, just like silver, just like copper, just like diamonds.
It's very different.
There's all kinds of stock to watch. Now, my question is, and the reason that I got out of economics and the stock market, I was getting a master's in economics, but down here, the majority of the professors are Marxists, and so I didn't feel like learning much from them. Even then, I had to read 3 different works by Marx, and they were telling. Yeah, he identifies all the bad shit that rich people do. Yeah, okay, we've been identifying that for thousands of years, but he never really identified how people actually got to the places where they got to, which is my interest. The reason that I studied economics so I could know, okay, how did these rich people become rich? Oh, they're innovative. They thought something that nobody else thought of. They worked their ass off. You know, it was 12 hours, 16 hours a day. Okay, that I can do. That I can handle. That I can run, you know, and try and achieve. But when you find out that it's some dumbass fucking punk who's 21 years old, whose dad's got a friend who's got an uncle that can do this, that can do the other, and they give you their garage so you can start up your stupid fucking shit, and they all make it work for you, and you're the grand poobah in the center of it, you know. And then after 20 years of monopolizing the entire planet, you decide that you're going to invest in shit that's going to kill off a bunch of Africans and Indians. Yeah, great fucking punk.
Yeah, and that's why Bitcoin is so fantastic, because it completely removes the centralized control of those types of currencies, and just literally, it's like a gigantic comet crashing into that system.
Has there been any problems with?
There's no way to do anything that's untracked on Bitcoin, because you know exactly who got what Bitcoin with.
Has there been any problems with illegal mining of Bitcoin so far?
What's that?
Illegal mining of
There's
Bitcoin?
no illegal mining, but the Philippines actually destroyed 4 terabytes of processors day before yesterday that were mining Bitcoin.
Yeah.
They decided to up their war against it.
Well, the Chinese tried to make, in fact, they did make laws relating to Bitcoin mining, but a lot of those miners just moved elsewhere. It's not going to stop it. It's inevitable. It's like you can mine
Chinese Bitcoin using the energy from the Three Gorges Dam.
I'm really not sure what miners over there are doing, but the point there is that it doesn't really matter where it's mined. It's going to be mined nonetheless. It can be the miners can be moved around.
And every time they mine it, they show vulnerabilities to where you can strengthen the system to where you're not going to have those hacks. It's going to be even harder to mine. And that's the whole purpose of mining, to make it better. That's actually one of the things that makes Bitcoin so great.
Yeah. And
at the same time, I feel like technology is going to increase at that same rate, and they're going to come up with new ways.
Yeah, the mining equipment is getting better as well over time.
Think about this. Google just basically declared last year that they had quantum computing, blah, 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 blah. And they also declared they were also mining Bitcoin. So imagine if Google starts mining Bitcoin using quantum computers. Yeah, we're lost. They're going to have everything, and we're going to have whatever's left over.
Well, it's already too late because most of it's already been mined. So it's, but the truth is that even only a small amount is going to enable just regular people to have a vast amount of money, because its value is significantly higher than other currencies.
What do you think about Elon Musk's new platform for trading Bitcoin?
It's stupid. I mean, why would you trade Bitcoin when you can just own Bitcoin? It doesn't make any sense. It's like, just go straight to the real thing rather than use a middleman that's going to take away like abscond with your money basically, and trick you into thinking of it in a way that it isn't really meant to be thought about or perceived.
I don't think anybody's 100% convinced that Bitcoin's not temporary yet, and that's why they're still actively trading it rather than hoarding.
People are.
But no, what I'm saying, but that's why there's trades going on, is because rather than hoarding it, they don't know how long term it is yet.
Well, it's holding, not really hoarding, but the thing is that so many people are still locked into this old paradigm of, the dollar is the be all end all of everything. The pound.
That paradigm ended in the 70s. Then it was oil is the end all be all of everything. And what are you talking about, Jeff Bezos? He just landed from his big fucking flying dick.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. All of these people don't matter, because if they don't take all this wealth that they have supposedly accumulated over X amount of time and dump it into
anyway.
Yeah, it's numbers in a computer mostly, but if they don't dump it into Bitcoin, they're going to lose all of it. That's just the reality, because the thing about Bitcoin is it's replacing everything. It's causing everything else to crash.
Everything else is crashing, and Bitcoin was the only thing that, like gold and silver, which is still monitored and everything else, stays at the same place while everything else is falling, because everything else is falling. And the good thing about everything else is falling at the same rate, so people didn't notice it. The way that you notice it is through inflation, your inability to buy the basic things that you need to buy.
Right. But with Bitcoin, it doesn't inflate. There is no inflation. The value inflates, but it's actually deflationary. Inflation is inflation.
Drop in value of the currency.
Yeah, right. The banks have the terminology all confused, but because of the deflationary.
Actually, that confused me in the beginning, which is why I didn't like accounting very much. Because their focus. I was always looking at my check statements and everything else, and noticing that the verbiage was exactly the opposite of the verbiage from the bank. And what I finally realized is that they're talking about from their perspective, not ours, which is completely inverted.
Right, and they want you to be their forever slave, making them rich, and that is old. That's over. Those days are gone, but people just don't realize it yet. It's totally transforming.
Yeah, those bastards are still raking in all our fucking cash.
Yeah, but the cash is becoming, it's like this. There's no point in getting rich on a sinking Titanic. You know what I mean? It's jump off and get into something else. It's the only thing that's it's the only thing that's going like this, It wobbles a bit, it's volatile, but the general trend is like
it's gonna grow in value. One of the things that I had
I like that comparison, but at the same time, it's like everybody wanted to ride the Titanic. They thought it was going to go well. They thought it was going to be a good ride to America. I don't think they assumed it was going to be a sinking ship.
Jacob, Titanic was a false flag to concentrate wealth and control of the planet.
Yeah, there was that idea.
The five wealthiest men who did not agree with the central bank system were given free tickets to ride. And the ones controlling decided they weren't going to go on that particular trip.
So you think the Titanic was built for those four people, though? The 4 or 5 people?
No, it was blown up for those 4 or 5 people.
Okay. I don't necessarily agree it was a false flag just because of the other people riding. I feel like there was way more worthless people on the Titanic.
It's not a false flag, but it's just like 9/11. They don't care how many casualties as long as they get the objective they want. They weren't those 5 guys. They were willing to kill everybody else to get it.
They wanted 21. What do you think happened at 9/11? How can you make that comparison? I don't understand.
Did they take advantage of it to militarize and control the entire population?
No, so we
take away 4 or 5 of the 10's basic civil human rights. No, I don't think there was anything
just joking.
behind
I
it.
was just joking. I have an opinion on 9/11 too.
I know, but we can't
what
put
we were,
that on YouTube verbally.
yeah. I don't know. I don't have enough information, but there's a lot of holes in the 9/11 story that was given publicly. That's all I can
Swiss
say.
fucking cheese, man.
But there's no piece of paper.
We were talking about this, and I wanted Michael to get a chance to hear about this. And basically, what we were on Aaron's show the other day, and somebody was sitting there praising Donald Rumsfeld, and I was specific about being, this is the guy that lost all of this money right before 9/11 and admitted to it, and basically it was all swept under the table when 9/11. I think it was September 10th he came out with it in 2001, and the next day 9/11 happened, and then nobody ever talked about the $3 million that
he lost his money. No, sorry,
our money.
He
our
said
US money.
that they couldn't find $2.9 trillion in the Pentagon budget.
2.3.
And all 2.3. Thank you for the correction. I appreciate that.
Thank you guys for correcting me on the million, because I knew it was a large amount and I just didn't have the numbers in front of me.
Trillion, motherfucker, trillion.
That's why I said thanks for correcting me.
How many trillions of dollars in the Afghan and the Iraq wars? I mean, you're doing the dozens of trillions of dollars that went into what Ike told us and warned us about so many decades ago. Beware the military-industrial complex.
But yeah,
I'd say
basically,
we've got one of those right about now.
What, Mike?
The speaker we were listening
to.
A complex.
The Matrix always repeats itself. If you don't learn from history, you are doomed to repeat it.
Who else was on the list? Pen of perspective, because I'm wondering. I remember Rummy was on the list. Hillary Clinton was on the list, and it was a list of people that this guest decided it was a good idea to praise these people and talk down about Donald Trump and saying that he was a bad thing for America, and basically he was just going on this rant
that
about
that list would be entitled "The Swamp," and as they say, the swamp is deep, very deep, very, 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 very fucking deep.
Well, I think Andy
the only way to
Bishado
escape this fucking swamp is coming in the next couple of months.
I don't know. I don't remember the guest's name. You might know it, Michael. But no, I didn't give any name. But one of these guests that was on Aaron's show is a very, very big supporter of the Clinton family.
Mr. Bishado, yes, very nice gentleman who happens to lick her boots at every opportunity that he has, and states all the talking points from the New World Order and the globalist agenda so freely, and says that there's no proof of anything else. Yes, Mr. Bishago, who has traveled to Mars and through time, that is fine. Go on, ye little demon.
Michael, you want to jump in here? You had something to say.
Well, I'm not a demon, but I would just say that I was
talking about Bishago, not you. Yeah. You're still in question.
Well, but my speech following what you said.
We haven't figured you out yet.
Yeah, I think Andy just has his own agenda, and he's looking for political support. And
that's the one thing I've never understood about Andy is I think when he ties his political views into his experiences, that's when he finds himself in deep water, because people find him less credible because of the things he wants to talk about when it comes to politics.
Yeah, he gets into heated debates that are not necessarily founded, and that makes you start to question the other stories that it can't be founded because you can't prove things of that nature. I mean, how are you going to prove that you were in 1823 or 18 whatever or whatever the fuck? How are you going to prove that? You depend on the worth of your word. If your word is worthless, then everything that you say is also fucking worthless. And the way that you establish the veracity of your word is by telling the fucking truth all the fucking time. So
And
people know that
where
when
I have
I'm
a
talking
problem,
to you, you're not bullshitting.
I want to make it specific because where I have a problem with Andy is when he goes, "Oh, okay, I had this experience with Hillary Clinton that was good, therefore I know she's a good person." No, you had one good encounter with this person, and that was your personal
The reason
experience.
he says that
Don't
she's a
make
good
a
person
stretch.
is because he's dependent on the Democratic National
regardless,
Committee,
regardless
which
of
is
if he's
in
dependent on
80%
it. You know what I mean?
indebted to her.
Regardless of if they're supporting him and he's dependent on them, you need to separate that narrative in order to
You
keep.
should, but they can't.
Because I think when you tie that narrative together and say these people are
and not like John
inherently good,
Kerry.
because I think the reason he said Donald Rumsfeld was good is because there was there's some kids involved in the project that they were involved in, and they called him Remy, and he disencouraged them from doing that because he didn't want them referring to an alcoholic beverage. And I'm like, well, that made him a good guy, regardless of anything else that he might have done.
That's like the virtue signaling that always happens. You know, the guy might have had a couple of good events to where he was good to people here or good to people there. Yeah, and then we get into karma, which is we cannot, under any circumstances, throughout all our good deeds, outdo the bad deeds that we do, because we do a whole lot more bad shit to this world than we do good stuff, which is the reason why we all fucking deserve to die. And in the end, we all do.
I feel like people can. I feel like people can change. I feel like people can.
Yeah,
improve.
and that's why we're given a life to actually take advantage of that. But who does? And nobody gets out of here alive.
Well, no,
nobody gets out of this reality alive.
Not in the sense that you came into it.
Everybody dies. There isn't a single person who's immortal.
Not yet. I do believe a computer generated consciousness can continue on, and we're showing signs that.
Yeah, but that's not immortal. That lasts as long as this fucking computer system works too. I mean, shit. I had a 1995 computer which worked fucking miracles, but it's a piece of shit compared to what we got now.
But so does Bitcoin and everything else. All electronics are based on electronic survival. At the same time, until something becomes 100% organic, if we can get an electric system that's organic and grows from the ground, that would be great. We don't have that type of connectivity.
Who says that other alien technologies haven't done that? We can cite Oumuamua, which doesn't show
mycelium, which is one of the biggest species on Earth. Mushrooms, mold. They're the only thing that seems to have that connection organically, where they can communicate with each other over long distances through veins, and we can only do that through electricity.
Well, hold on, just hold on a second. Right over here. Now, damn, it's nighttime and none of this can be seen, but I've got all kinds of trees and everything else that have been growing there for 20 years. Now,
that's wireless. That's wireless. I'm talking about a hard line.
Yeah, what I'm talking about is underneath all of this that we can see is an entire world and a universe that's going on underground. Their roots are talking to each other, not because the roots talk to each other, because the mycelium, because the fungi talk to the different roots, and they transmit all those things. Those are neurons, the freaking thought processes of what we would call Gaia. I mean, that's the stuff that makes everything work together. I mean, that is what makes this planet a living, breathing thing, is all those mycelia, which break down what is dead and help give nutrients to new life. That breakdown is the fungi. Oh, yeah. Without them, we'd have old wood on the surface building up. It wouldn't rot. It wouldn't become food for the others.
It's definitely a cycle. I mean, the fungi give the carbon dioxide for the plants to have.
It goes beyond that. It's not just mechanical. And that's what I'm trying to explain in my channel. It's not a mechanical process like science has been trying to do for the last 1,500 years.
But I'm saying as long as we're doing it like for the last 1,500 years, as long as we're doing it mechanical, we're going to be dependent on that. Until we can come to a more organic way of doing things, where we're more connected with nature and we can tie into these systems or find a way
that
where
means that we have to be
thrived.
tied into it. We have to understand it. We have to meld with it. We don't understand nature, which is why we haven't integrated with it. We still try to dominate nature and control it and find out. When we get away from our control paradigm and get away to and get into a way of flowing with the wave of existence, we will be much more sustainable and in unison with existence. We won't require as many things. There's not going to be necessarily as great and fantastic as what the last century has been, but it will be greater in other aspects. Why? Because we'll be in harmony, we'll be in unison, and we won't be trying to fucking slit each other's throats the way we are today. We don't technically slit each other's throats, but whenever you're taking a contract away from your competitor, yeah, you're putting food on your table, but you're also taking food off of his. So indirectly, you're slitting his throat in order to make sure that you don't get yours slit. So it's a dog-eat-dog world, the one that we live in, and it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. And it shouldn't.
I think it's a dog-eat-dog world when it's down to survival. But I don't think it's a dog-eat-dog world.
We haven't gotten past psychologically and emotionally the survival part.
But when people are making ridiculous amounts over what they need to survive, then it's not a dog-eat-dog world. When you have those people that are pulling away from the crowd so much that the rest of the crowd still has to fight to survive, then
they pit dog against dog to watch them, and they bet on which fucking dog is going to win. And they don't care because neither one of those dogs is them. And no matter which one loses or wins, it's not them.
That's why we need Bitcoin.
That's why we need Bitcoin.
If people aren't dependent on killing each other to survive, whenever they're able to establish those first levels of the Maslow pyramid, whenever they got survival, they got health, whenever they got a roof, whenever they got clothes, whenever they got food, whenever they got a form of transportation so they can get and do the things that they need to do. If they've got those basics, and that accounts for 75 to 80% of what people work for and spend in their life. If they can have those basic necessities taken care of in some way or form, in other words, you're going to have food, you're going to have a roof over your head. All right. Now do what you got to do. All right. Then you can focus on, no, I'm not going to do something that I fucking hate doing and I've been doing for 12 years, but I got to do it to pay the bills. No. Okay. These are the opportunities available. I like that. I would like to do that. I would like to focus on those things. We can actually grow better as individuals and grow better as a society that way. But in order to do that, we have to get.
And that's what Michael's saying. Michael's saying, take that new opportunity like Bitcoin, where you're not working yourself to the bone. Just
I got no leftover money to put in Bitcoin. I still got to put food on the table today.
Do you know how much the cheapest Bitcoin mining apparatus costs is actually functional? It's only about $300.
I can't afford $200 to put into it. To be, see, that's my whole point.
Yeah, well, it's only about $300. It's only a little bit more to get.
I'll go half and half with you, Michael, and we'll start mining.
I've already got my own mining company.
No, Mr. Pena.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Sure. Let's go
Why don't we get in on something? Maybe because I do want to see if this has an outcome.
We need to actually start a GoFundMe or something linked to both our YouTube channels, to where maybe people that follow us can start up a GoFundMe account for us to get into Bitcoin and find out what the experiment is really about.
And then we'll replenish everybody that donated.
Well, the dollar is really an experiment when you think about it. The fiat currency is the real experiment.
Existence is an experiment.
Well, it doesn't have to be. We collectively choose that, but we can choose other. We can choose something other. It can be. I mean, for example, since 2017, I've literally done nothing. Like literally, I've sat around and I've done things that I like doing. I've spent time with my family. I've read books, I've watched movies, I've listened to music. I haven't even picked up a musical instrument in about 2 years. Now, I'll preface that by saying I used to play guitar every day from my from the time I was a teenager up until a couple of years ago, I'll be 47 soon. That was my work. I did other things for work. I haven't had to do anything. And that's just simply because I looked at something, I studied it, I researched it, and I realized this is what we need, and this is what I need. I got into it, and there it is.
That's what I talked about, catching the wave.
Yeah, it's
You have to
completely life
see that wave
transforming.
coming, be prepared for it, and pick it. The
Yeah, but
problem is that
it's still
he
coming.
got the wave 4 years ago, and Michael is growing, and he's surfing that wave like a motherfucker. I'm going to get in now to see it crashing. I need to see the next wave that's coming out there that I can prepare for.
And
I don't know how many waves are going to be, because I mean, Bitcoin's a big fucking wave.
It's a tsunami, and it's going to destroy everything else in its wake. And the thing is to be part of it,
But doesn't it have to come down? I mean, even knowing that, it has to come down at some point.
But
do you think there'll be something else there, or do you think it'll be something that's still lingering around today?
It doesn't necessarily have to, but if it does, it will still have already taken everything else in its wake. So does Bitcoin have that same flaw of everybody cornering the market and owning a good amount of it? Is that something that you have to worry about with Bitcoin? Not really, because there's enough of it, and the value of just even a little bit is enough for each individual to have plenty in terms of money. So if you were to just own today even 0.01 Bitcoin, if you had here's a statistical fact, if you had 0.28 Bitcoin, you would be in a future world where Bitcoin is the only money, which is probable, the accepted standard of money for the entire world, you would be in the wealthiest top percentile of the entire planet, and that's only 0.28.
But that's saying that everybody's at that percentage, right? So you can't be in the top percentile based on what everybody else has. If you're at that percentage, if everybody else owns one and you're at that percentage, then you're not at that percentile anymore.
Yeah, well, not everybody's going to own one, because there's only 21 million of them. So if you have to divide it even less than that.
But you're saying these big companies like Jeff Bezos, like your Elon Musks, can't buy up an amount to.
No, but it does work if you consider the population isn't going to be 7.4 billion, but maybe 4.3 billion. That it's a lot more controllable.
These guys, like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk of the world, these guys are too dumb and arrogant and have way too much hubris to understand what they're dealing with. They think that they're invincible, and that because the government has given them gigantic welfare checks for years. That
Bezos have a shit fit and crying fit because Microsoft got a contract that Amazon didn't. So the government, made a new law and gave him a contract and broke the contract with Microsoft just because Bezos had a freaking rant.
Well, Amazon's got to realize that Microsoft's kind of been grandfathered in at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to technology,
those billionaires don't want anybody grandfathered in. They want to be the only ones available.
They want to monopolize. If it's not monopolized, they don't want it.
That's why they're rich. That's the name of the game was what? Monopoly.
Well, they're driven by narcissism, most of them. They're driven by a pathological narcissism, and it's just about making them the center of everything. And the truth about that is that's over. It's completely over already. They just haven't realized it. And the sooner that, if these people want to hold on to any semblance of wealth, they need to pour all of their money into something.
Mars. They're all going to Mars.
They're going to lose everything. They're going to lose everything they have.
They already lost everything, so they're taking advantage to go somewhere new.
So they're going to be disappointed by that, by the way.
Bitcoin takes off, and then they go
No,
mine.
there's huge fucking animals on Mars that'll eat them alive if they don't know where to survive, right, Michael?
Correct. Absolutely correct.
That's the next move I see. Bitcoin takes off, and then NASA decides to go mine an asteroid and bring back a bunch of gold and diamonds, and then try to flood the market.
Yeah, but
the last ditch effort to try to save it.
Yeah, the truth about NASA, though, is that they're going to be so broke because they're funded by the United States government. Now, when the United States government... Yeah, well, good, but like...
Which is why...
The United States government's been broke. Their financial, prowess is built on...
The United States government is not broke. The United States government depends on the good faith
and we are
the ability of everyone around the world to buy her debt. The United States
we're in debt.
The day that nobody wants to buy her debt.
Well, here's the thing about that. The U.S. is now adopting, is getting away from its own dollar. The U.S. government is ditching its own dollar and is now holding 144,000 Bitcoins. It's one of the big... Yeah, the U.S. government is one of the biggest holders of Bitcoin on the planet.
Shit. All right. The Treasury is into Bitcoin. All right. That's news.
Yeah, and some very...
Glad to know there's something in the Treasury.
Yeah, there's...
Well, that's when Trump took over, I'm assuming. Biden wouldn't know his head from his ass.
Probably. And other countries are following suit. North Korea has 30,000 Bitcoins, which is very interesting when you think about it.
Russia got rid of all of its American sovereign debt.
All of its
dollars. They have nothing in dollars anymore.
Yeah. So
China reduced over the last 20 years. China reduced its dependence on U.S. foreign currency from 75% of its reserves to today. Actually, 10 years ago, it was less than 37%. They were able to eliminate their U.S. debt after the 2008 because everybody went into treasuries, and so China sold all their treasuries and got out of the U.S. debt. Now they are less than 15% of their reserves are U.S. debt. China has gotten the fuck out of the dollar as fast as they could without frightening the rest of the goddamn planet.
Yeah, and the European Union is doing the same. Like the EU is
the EU is China's bitch.
People do say that.
But Russia's got their gas, so they're sucking up to everybody.
But I have European family. I'm a European national as well. As an American, so I kind of
Europe. This is one of my favorite fucking continents, but it's not the same today as what it was.
Yeah, but I kind of understand what's going on there, especially with the likes of Germany. Germany has really been radically changing its laws lately to be more friendly towards, especially once again, Bitcoin. And the IMF, which is the funding, basically the organization that funds the European Union, more or less, is also one of the biggest Bitcoin holders in the world, along with the United States government. So
IMF has Bitcoin?
Oh yeah, the Europeans are way ahead in this regard. I'm not going to tell you to trust me on this, but trust me on this. Because in Europe, people know that, the fiat currency systems that we've had in play for a long time.
Well, they gave up their national currency over a decade ago. I mean, I remember when I used to have the French franc, the Deutsche Mark,
that was
the British pound, the Swiss franc, the Belgian franc. Then you had the Luxembourg also had their own franc, if I'm not mistaken. And you had all these. Oh, and the Italian lira, which was basically worthless. They devalued it every chance they could to be competitive. So now all of a sudden they have all gave up their sovereign currencies for one unifying currency. So if you gave up your nationality for the euro, which is now basically not worth what it was, why wouldn't they give it up for something else like a Bitcoin or Dogecoin or China coin? Because the Chinese Communist Party is also launching their own form of cryptocurrency.
Yeah, but Europeans aren't dumb. You know what I mean? Europeans know that
Of course not.
what's really coming down the pipeline with that regard, in regard to that, and
We
that's
usually
why.
look to them for guidance. However, in this particular point, they are not good guidance because their governments have been shutting them down. They're in revolution right now. You've got revolts everywhere from France to England to well, the floods in Germany don't allow you to, make many protests, but Greece is protesting. These lockdowns and then this, yeah, if they are portents of what is to come, it's a sad fucking state of affairs because that means that a centralized government will control everybody's actions. And that has always been regrettable, historically speaking.
Greece and Egypt have both been in a 3-year protest.
Yeah,
well, Greece because they're broke, and Egypt, well, too. But now this time it's because of COVID lockdowns.
Yeah, but the thing that we fail to understand is that the changing of the currency to a digital decentralized standard means that there's actually more individual autonomy because
yeah, that'd be great. What's the difference between that and Jassara and Nassara?
Between what and what?
Have you heard Jassara and Nassara thing going on?
Oh yeah.
2.5 years I've been hearing about that.
Yeah, the global economic something national economic something safety and
whatever. It's a globalized coin, and that also reminds me of the mark, and that's my biggest concern. I need to be prepared before the fucking mark. Actually, this whole situation that's been going on for the last year and a half has been pushing this mark. Have you noticed that in France you have to have a passport, specific passport, in order to go into a grocery store? Does that not remind you of what the last book of the Bible actually told us about?
Well, that's what Macron was pushing, but that's not actually the law in France, and people realize that.
It's what they're trying to do in Australia, in New Zealand, in Canada.
If you read the news of today, the French people actually more than likely burnt down the Macron's house.
They tried to, freaking assholes.
Yeah.
Elegant Mind, thank you very much for coming by. I appreciate it.
So it's kind of like they're trying to gain all this and keep all of this centralized power and wealth, but it's just not happening because people are actually waking up to an alternative. And this is why I hate to flog a dead horse, but I do keep talking about Bitcoin because it is part of the solution to that. And there's other parts of it, but that is definitely a part of it.
We have to find, well, see, when I was doing my master's in economics, and God, what was it, in 2007? That's been so fucking long ago. And it was before the crash. And then they wanted me to participate in the program because it wasn't just any master's in economics. It was actually this particular theory was trying to figure out the next economic system that would take over after capitalism's fall, because capitalism is at the end of its Kundiev cycle, which is every 500 years you have different monetary cycles that happen to take over the planet, and where you had the waning of one, you have the growing of the other, which is why in 1950, which is more or less the end of the previous Kundiev cycle, that we have that communist thing and all that kind of bullshit of one centralized government, because that was supposedly the next system is supposed to be integrating. Now that system scares the freaking piss out of me, which is why I want independence more than anything else.
Yeah, and why would you, especially knowing history, why would you want your government at all to have control in any aspect whatsoever of your own personal finances? That's
or your own personal health choices. Thank you very much, Elegant Mind. Very good choice.
Let me jump in here before you say anything. Elegant Mind, we can't give any advice on the shot, but we 100% understand where you're coming from.
I don't know some family members who did because they didn't listen to me, and hey, that's their life, not mine.
I think you have a good approach there, Mr. Elegant Mind.
Can't
Or
trust the
Mrs.
government.
Don't assume gender.
When has government actually done something good for you?
I don't
When
remember.
it's not to their own freaking benefit. Huh?
I don't remember. Do you?
I found it one single time the government has actually helped me.
Can't remember.
Between the regulations and everything else. Oh, we've got clean food because the government guarantees it. Okay, have you actually read the FDA? That they say that you can actually have a certain percentage of ant parts and roach parts in your food.
Great.
Yay, they're protecting us.
They're so nice.
I mean, people that buy into this, and it's so many. It's so many that I know that are into the system, and they think I'm freaking nuts and I'm paranoid and all this kind of stuff because, I don't trust big government, that I want individualism, and I think that I'm going to survive by myself. No, I'm going to starve to death if I fucking survive on my own. But at the same time, it's every individual's choice to live the way they do, but that's a right that we all should have, and that's what government should protect, is the individual right. That's what government was established for, because before, the individual right was eliminated by large power centers, people who could contract or feed the most soldiers. Okay, sorry, Elegant Mind, I'm going to have to refer you in another way. Holy crap. Now that, you shouldn't have said that. I would have treated you normal.
I said you shouldn't assume gender. See, you guys are assuming. That's what happens.
I didn't assume anything. I was treating her, him, whatever, in the way that there would be respect. Now that I see that she's a woman.
Why do you got to assume? Why do you have to assume that an elegant mind would be a male mind?
I got to dress up a little bit better.
That be a female
I got
mind?
to have a better image because I got to impress. No, I got to try and
Well, I'm still coming out of that
Elegant Mind because I got to make her feel better because that's what I do.
What was that, Michael?
Oh, I'm still coming out of that part of the Matrix that brainwashed everybody into thinking superiority because of gender. I suppose we all are in some regard.
Brainwashed by who? Who brainwashed them? Elegant Mind, yes, people are brainwashed. Michael, yes, that's exactly what we were talking about. Now, my question is, who brainwashed the people? We got programming. We got, the programs that are integrated by the government. I was talking about programming as far as television and everything else because we're programmed on a very deep level. I mean, they've been into mind control and NK Ultra since the 60s, so they know what the fuck they're doing. Everything that comes out is for their benefit and to our control and eventually detriment. Okay. The original objective of government was to protect us from the big bad people that would feed more soldiers, come in and take all your shit. Because there was some guy that said, hey, I can give you more food, but we got to take all the crap from that town over there and we'll get done. Free money. The problem with free money is that if everything is, then nothing has any value. We'll be in the exact same place.
I think that was the joke. I think that was the joke she was making is, oh, yeah, free money, Democrats. Yeah, I'm aboard. And because
I'm on board. Yeah, I'd love free money.
For things that might not actually come true. And most people will vote for that. But
what does money bring us? That's what you got to understand. It's not about the free money itself. What is it the money brings us?
I got free money.
Do you guys want free money? I'll give it to you.
Bitcoin
I've been giving you free money all night.
There you go.
I've been giving you free money all night, and you won't take it. So,
no, you haven't actually deposited any free money into my bank account. That I would appreciate it. You have given me advice on how to get free money.
I gave it to you.
Yeah, Elegant Mind. We'll get it. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Elegant Mind. If you want free money, I'm your guy. Let me just talk to me.
She's saying the free money they want to give away is because government is taking away everybody else's money, which is what they've been doing in Latin America for a very long fucking time. Lula built up the poverty class by taxing the shit out of anybody who had any money or any industries. And so that makes people deindustrialize. people don't focus on the things that are useful to build an economy, because the people that are building it leave. Like people in California. How many people have left California for Utah, for Texas, for Colorado, for Wyoming, for Montana, for wherever the taxes are lower, because California is fucking killing them?
California.
Yeah, we ain't going to get into that, Elegant Mind. The stimulus isn't even a real stimulus. It's just an inflation bill.
We can talk about
the
that.
The stimulus package should actually be like it was in the 40s and 50s, to where you actually were investing in infrastructure. What is infrastructure? Improving the highways, improving the railroads, improving the telecommunications systems, improving infrastructure. Since when the fuck was critical race theory part of infrastructure? Give me a fucking break. The way they play with vocabulary is bullshit.
Since when was government control of your money?
When you gave it to them.
A thing, you know, that it's like
when you voted it in, when you voted them in and gave it to them. That's when they got control.
I didn't vote for them.
You chose who was in control.
I didn't either, but I don't vote. So I don't really did. You know, I can't say either
by
way.
not voting, you chose who was in control.
I can't complain because I didn't.
I wasn't even born then, so.
Yeah, true.
Oh,
but we can vote people into the system that don't want to keep promoting this system too.
Yeah, but the thing is, you're still operating on the premise that
the U.S. dollar has any value.
You're operating on a.
I earn in reais, and so mine really doesn't have any fucking value.
That's operating on a premise of faulty logic, because you're assuming that they are going to operate the way that you want them to because you're playing by their rules. It just doesn't make any sense. You need to circumvent it entirely.
You can't play by their rules because their rules are made for them to win.
Yeah.
Going with what you just said, Elegant, I don't believe I got any of the stimulus promises, even the ones in Trump's time. I didn't get. I think I received one in the beginning, the first one, but never anything after that.
We be dependent on government stimulus anyway. We need to. The only way that we can be independent is us doing our thing, those around us helping us. You're conservative because you're intelligent and you're wise and you've actually busted your ass and know how things work. Okay,
Michael. What do you think? Michael, we've talked offline about conservatives and our view on the Republican Party in general.
Well, I consider myself a conservative libertarian, really. So more. You actually
fall. So me and you fall on the exact same line, because everybody thinks it's an oxymoron when I explain it like that. Because the modern day libertarian cannot coexist.
I always thought I was a conservative. I was a conservative libertarian, is what I always consider myself back in Ross Perot's time.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking even further back than that. I mean, classic libertarianism. Thomas Jefferson, for instance. You know, having grown up in New England, I'm very influenced by, as far as my thinking is concerned, the founding fathers, really.
Because Constitution. They knew what the fuck they were doing.
Well, they wanted that was the reason that we pulled away from the English, is because we wanted our tax dollars going to what we wanted them to go to actually build our country.
We didn't want to be paying tax dollars some freaking asshole to be spinning on his crackhead son. That's what we didn't want.
There's that, yeah.
Is that what they had back in Europe back then? Yeah.
Well, the King of England was at the time. He was basically insane, and he kept pushing England into war against France, especially. And after a point, he wanted America to pay for it.
Russia. Either way.
Yeah, the powers of Europe at the time, and he wanted America to pay for it, and the Americans at the time said no. And furthermore, we're going to get the French, who you keep fighting with, to fight with us against you. And by the way, all those Irish guys that you've been saying you own their country, yeah, we got them with us too. And
All
You're in
those people
trouble.
that you basically pissed off, they're on our side. Piss
Yeah.
off.
So that was it. Yeah, that was the end of it.
So
So
how is it that we went from declaring independence from that tyranny to being that tyranny? Elegant
well,
mind, we're not
once
uncomfortable,
again,
please. I enjoy your banter.
once again, we've become co-opted, and it's been subtle, and it's gradual, and people haven't noticed unless they've really paid
Boiling the
attention.
frog.
And
Have you heard about boiling the frog?
yeah, exactly. That's what's happened. And so it's kind of like, they've slipped it in your drink over time and you didn't notice that they were poisoning you, basically. So you need to get a really good water filter and filter out all that crap and get back
Fluoride
to
in the water.
basically. Yeah, exactly. And that's it. Yeah,
The only thing we own is the land that we have. If you rent, you don't own anything. You're a serf. Just getting into the comment. One of the reasons why I have the land that I have, I could have actually turned this money into other apartments and other goods that we would actually be living better than what we are today. I decided to hold land because that's what made you a lord back in the feudal days. Because if you don't have to pay to survive, to have a place to sleep, to have a place to die, you're free.
What if you owned your own bank? What if you owned your own bank?
Those guys are more than free. They control everybody else's freedom. They got everybody else's freedom in their home.
Would you like to own your own bank?
How about I partner with you? You already own your own bank. Just I'd like to be your entourage. No problem. You pay for those people to follow in your wake. I'll be one of those people following in your wake. I got no problems with that.
Everybody has the right and ability now to own their own bank and be a banker, basically. And that keeps these big guys from dictating to you anything, because it's like, well, we're all bankers now, buddy. Take that. You know what I mean?
That you have being a banker means what? Having the freedom to do your own thing. Now, I want to get into Elegant Mind's question is, Alexander the Great wanted to be buried with his hands outside of coffin and his feet outside his coffin. His hands to show everybody that he came with nothing and he leaves with nothing. And his feet, that even his shoes would be gone. And he wanted his coffin to be carried by the doctors so that they knew no matter how great a doctor they were, they still couldn't save his life. He still died. Yeah. So we got nothing. However, if what we do while we're here is the reason why we're here. The effect that we have on the universe simply by being present in this universe is the reason why we were placed in this universe. Being everybody's banker is too much of a headache. Fuck it. We just want our own life. You're right. We want freedom.
No, I just mean like owning a bank that's just yours. You're the only customer. You're the only owner. You're the only beneficiary.
Elegant Mind, we go more than just us. But anyway, sorry, Michael. Continue. Sorry.
I don't mean like operating.
I did that on purpose.
A huge banking operation all by yourself. What I mean is like you being the only owner of it, you being the only beneficiary, the only customer, the only employee of a bank. What is effectively a bank, because you put $50 in it, and in a year it's going to be $500. You put $500 in it, in a year it's going to be 5,000. You put 5,000 in a year, it's going to be what, 50,000.
I didn't do the same thing, but I put 10,000. The next year it was 14,000. Today it's after devaluation. Holy shit, it's 100,000. But it devalued by 5 to 1. So yeah, land, same thing. It's my Bitcoin, except I can't sell my land to buy food.
Yeah.
And I can get rid of some parts of Bitcoin to get food. But I wanted to get back to the comment in the chats, whereas we all go back to dust. Physically, yes, but our consciousness continues, and there's a reason why the consciousness chose this physical reality. And our focus in this physical reality is the consciousness. Why we must evolve who we are to be more responsible with what we have. That is the reason of our existence. We don't go back to dust. Our consciousness goes back to the source. If we are beneficial, we will be spared. If we are pieces of shit, we will be recycled. Period. No. Yes and no. Elegant Mind, thank you for being on. Your questions are freaking wonderful, and I appreciate you so very much. Your mom and grandmother kind of were right, but you're right too. The thing is that when we expire from this reality, we do go to sleep. We are completely asleep until the day of judgment. Your mother and grandmother are still asleep, waiting for that great day. When you all see each other will be the same instant, because you will all wake up together on that final judgment day.
What I wanted to add to that, Elegant Mind, I wanted to add to that. Don't let anybody else's beliefs on, your perspective of the world or anything else deter you from how you believe. So definitely don't be unsure because somebody tried to talk you out of, your own beliefs in the afterlife. Nobody has the absolute answer. There's no way that they are definitively.
Hey, have you died? Have you died? Have you come back? Can you tell us what life is like over there? Michael, have you died? Have you come back? I know you've gone through time, but have you actually died, gone to the other world and come back? Neither have I. So none of us can actually say what's actually there. However, the beliefs that lead us to a more beneficial existence in this reality and the ability of hope, peace, and love that Jesus Christ gave us allows us a room in the after. Otherwise, we're in an existential reality to where the only thing that matters is what is right now. The one who dies of the most toys wins, and fuck it. Eat your neighbor.
Well, that sounds like a story. Elegant Mind just commented. Elegant Mind just commented, and I said, that sounds like an interesting story.
She's definitely got to come on. I'm going to be too damn embarrassed to actually talk to her because her mind blows mine out of the water. But anyway, definitely an elegant mind. However, died a couple of times and come back.
You're gonna have to tell us more. You're gonna have to tell us more about that. You can't end the conversation at that. We're gonna need a little more on that.
We're gonna have to have her on as a guest to actually speak. I mean, give her the link, tell her to pop on. She can pop on.
Let's see if she's available. I know she can hear us, but there's a little bit of delay on the live stream to YouTube. Elegant Mind, if you would like to come on, I'll share the link with you, and we can you can join us because you have some great questions.
A couple of times now. That's a conversation we need to have. Definitely.
It happened to me one time that I can recall.
Okay.
Let's just say I was hanging around with some very
nefarious people,
not so good people, and I'm not going to name or anything, but basically I was murdered, and I died, and I felt all of the energy leave my body, and I was no longer in my body. And I was speaking with a life force on the other side, so to speak, which seemed to be comprised of one, God; two, all of my dead relatives; three, other people who I knew of who had died. And they were all saying to me that I basically had the choice to stay with them or to go back and finish some work. And I was still really young, so I said, well, I don't
What did you have to do?
Well, I'm kind of doing it.
Okay. That's your destiny. Perfect. You're walking it out.
As I get the opportunity to, without being, constantly silenced and shut down and censored. But
glad it wasn't your time, Elegant Mind.
But so I chose to come back and, continue with the work that needed to be done here on Earth rather than leave so quickly. And I'm still here. I'm still doing it. And hopefully I'm doing it right or as best as I can, But yeah, there are plenty of people with near-death experiences who have similar stories like that. Some people say, like, it was the first time that they talked to God or experienced God or saw Jesus or whatever. But for me, that wasn't the first time really, because I had been raised with at least the knowledge of Jesus Christ. So it wasn't anything new to me. But the overall experience, it was very overwhelming. Like it was more overwhelming than I had ever experienced beforehand.
Of course it was overwhelming. You fucking died. Elegant Mind, you have to get on. I want to talk to you eventually. We got stuff we got to discuss. Yeah. Sorry. That was for Elegant Mind. Michael, great story. Jacob, you brought Rocco on. What's this going on here?
Rocco decided to jump in with us. He just got done doing a podcast or an interview himself. How you doing tonight, Rocco?
I'm doing all right. Just living in the Matrix.
Just one eye of you?
I totally believe in time travel. Oh, what? I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. There's a little bit of delay on your audio.
Well, basically, my experience was like Project Looking Glass. I grew up on the eastern end of Long Island, and I was put through the Montauk Project. But it was in a past, actually. It was like I was time traveled back to the early 80s. And I was one of the boys that died in the Montauk chair. Anya Briggs, a well-known psychic, was supposed to meet with me. The day she was supposed to meet with me, I had a Black Hawk helicopter over the top of my house, unmarked, the whole nine. She heard that. She said, never mind, we're not meeting, and never spoke to me again. But it's definitely
you have real. The best freaking guests, man. Holy cow.
I have to admit, I've come across some interesting people in the last month, and Rocco's story jumped out to me, so I reached out to him not too long ago. And
doesn't reach out, that just reaches out and grabs you, like Michael said.
Well, and I know he's done a lot of research on the Montauk project. And I know Michael knows a little bit about it as well. I assume you have knowledge of it. I didn't say you had involvement of it, just knowledge of it as well. I don't know if Rocco, have you heard of Michael Macintosh?
I haven't, but there's many of us. There's people that are still asleep. They don't even realize that they've been used in these experiments. And the problem is I'm afraid to go back, with hypnosis. I've had people, offer sessions of hypnosis, and I turn it down because I'm afraid I'm not going to want to come back because of the trauma that children were put through. And the abuse of, our government, and still the abuse of our government. And I just find it ironic that all of a sudden they were going to bring out the ET disclosure, and then all of a sudden it never happened. So, like, when are we going to be told the truth? Obviously, storming the Capitol did.
Rocco, do you ever think we're gonna? Do you ever think we're gonna get
more worse?
Do you ever think we're gonna get a full truth when it comes to disclosure? Because I think it's always going to be that trickle thing. It's always water that we found on Mars for the 5th time, and just signs of civilization, but we're not going to actually admit to anything. And, so Elegant. Sorry, I also want to jump in. Elegant, I saw that you said that you drowned one time. That I'm going to pull up these posts in a second that you're sending in. I want to make sure they get their time, but I want to make sure Rocco gets in here as well, because I really want to hear what you have to say, Elegant Mind. So yeah, I just want to let you know we're happy you're here, and we're glad you're in here with us. But go ahead, Rocco. Sorry about that.
So yeah, no, I've done a lot of research. Junior is definitely real, interdimensional being that was created by a psych and a boy sitting in the Montauk chair that destroyed the base.
Was that Duncan Cameron that did
that? Yes, it was
okay.
Duncan.
So,
now I also believe that there's
100%. Let me jump in. I'm 100% involved with the Montauk case, and I have some problems with it, and then I also have some parts that I just really don't understand about it. And the main part that I have trouble understanding is the relationship between Al Bielek, Preston Nichols, Duncan Cameron, and their sexual abuse. And I don't know if it was involved in bringing forth past memories or what it was about, if it was trying to trigger something. But I know there was some involvement they don't try to make too public. And that was something I dug into a lot. And I don't know if it was the traumatization of it that they were trying to use or what it was.
I know exactly what you're talking about, because a couple of years ago I reached out and tried to get in contact with Preston Nichols, and there was a chance that was going to happen. And it never happened, and I kind of am thankful it didn't, because basically, he believed that masturbation was a way of deprogramming. And you had to do this exactly in front of him. Yeah, well, I don't know. I never really tried to be involved with that guy. He was a creep.
Oh, I'm sorry he invited you to do those things.
What's so funny about it? What's so funny about it, Michael?
He wasn't
laughing. What's so funny about it?
Well, I don't know what you mean, frankly, but it just seems
when
like
you know what I mean. There's other people it has actually happened to. Stuart Swerdlow is also no good. He works with the Illuminati.
Hey, Rocco.
People have threatened to kill Stuart Swerdlow in the past. Because of the deprogramming.
I wanted to jump in. There's multiple people that have been involved in MK Ultra and the Montauk Project that have had both negative and positive experiences, and I think it's based on their family's military involvement, or if they were a kid picked up off the street to be involved. I think Al Bielek laid that out pretty well, and then I also think there was some CIA children that were treated quite well in the system. So I think there could be both spectrums. I don't think it's just everybody was abused or everybody was taken care of. So I do want to relate that as well. A good example I use is Andrew Basiago. Andrew Basiago seemed to never be tortured when he was going through these things. They might have tried to suppress his memory, but if you're talking time travelers, Andrew Basiago is one of the biggest ones on the table to talk about. And that's why I also asked you if you knew about Michael Macintosh, because Michael Macintosh is also one of those big players at the table when it comes to, he's been telling his story for a long time. I saw your eyes get big when I said that, but at the same time, I've thought of you like that for a while. You've been telling your story for a long period of time, whether people want to diminish it or not. But I just want to make sure that you know that Michael is also an experiencer. He might not have the same experiences as you, but I don't think he was laughing at you more than just trying to understand where you're coming from and, you know, your experiences as well.
Yeah, don't take, I mean, if you thought I was laughing at you, please don't. That's absurd. I'm not laughing at any person or anything. I mean, I think in any situation.
I know people from were involved, like Joe Lafrino. He's been on a couple of episodes on television. And they did a regression on him, and he came back with memories of, an upside down house and being taken into this upside down house. And, I think Timothy Leary might have been involved. Several people were involved in this stuff, several. And I do have family that work currently in the Plum Island at security. And then I also have family in the Air Force.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of like
you're saying, because I've actually been told by someone who claims to be a time traveler, who I believe is actually from our current future, who came back to this time period, that I am somehow directly involved with what you're talking about, but as of yet, I basically have not had any experience with it, but that ultimately in what is our current future, I'm basically like a head honcho in that project. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know if that's true or not because I haven't lived it yet, but I've been told that in the future I am involved with that as basically some sort of bigwig, which is really strange because, I mean, what you're talking about seems kind of horrible. I personally right now wouldn't want anything to do with something that sounds as horrible as you're saying it is. But
absolutely not. It's
maybe I turn into a bad
traumatizing.
Person. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've grown over years now. Like,
has it made you stronger?
I've grown to accept it.
Has it helped you in any way? Or?
Well, reaching out to others that need help. People with suicide. The drugs. It's like the world. It's like all programs, all different kinds of programs going on. I hardly watch the television, so.
Yeah, I've been without TV for a long time.
That's a healthy decision.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, I believe what you're saying. I know there are other people out there who will say that that's, they'll try to discredit anything, but I am at the point where I just believe what people are saying because anything is possible. All things are possible, So, and we could be talking even we could be in the same chat room for ultimately an important reason that we both haven't figured out yet.
And the reality is that it could be that it's not important right now, but that one interaction that we have a year and a half from now might change this particular outcome for that particular outset. So we don't know when the butterfly's wings flap. Yeah. All we know is the hurricane that was generated from the butterfly's wings flaps. The only one who knows which one can generate the other is the one who knows the end from the beginning. So people can be in our lives, not for today, but for what they will impact in us later. by still
Yeah.
being around. Or maybe it can be today. Fuck it. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you guys know who Michael Phillips is? Have you guys heard of him? He
Heard of
made
him?
some-
Remind me.
He made some videos for a YouTube channel called Apex TV. He's a British.
I do know Michael. Yeah,
supposed
me and
time traveler.
you have talked about him.
Well, he
Bald
told
gentleman
me
that you met.
he's not bald. He does have very short, like army hair, but
Did Rocco pop out? What happened?
It looks like it dropped him out, but he can reconnect if he needs to.
okay. Well, he told me that in my personal future that I would be part of the starting of some of these projects, and specifically the Montauk project. And I think he said the Philadelphia experiment or something. I don't know enough about these things yet, but he said that somehow I was ultimately involved with the initiation of these as projects.
Okay, so Jake,
so,
tell
like,
us
the
about
crew
the
on the
Montauk
ship or what
project
involved it?
and Project Philadelphia project experiment.
I have no
Sorry, go
idea.
Do you know what involvement you had in that project?
Well, it hasn't happened to me yet, so I don't know what involvement I will have, basically, because it hasn't happened. So not in my life, it hasn't happened yet, But there's, I guess, some time travel, the time displacement involved in the initiation of these projects. That to me hasn't happened yet, so this is in my future. But to Michael Phillips, it was already the past because he supposedly came back here from like 2040s, 2045 or something, somewhere around there. 2070 something, actually. He says he was born in the 2040s. So yeah, I've been on Apex TV. That's me with the beard and the short hair talking about some of the things I experienced when I was just a small boy living in Calgary.
But that's not where you met Mr. Phillips, though, right? You said you met him at a party.
I met him at a party, yeah. That was in... Well, I can't talk about where just yet. I will talk about that eventually. That's a...
Classified.
That's a sensitive subject. It's not really classified. It's just sensitive. I mean, you don't want to tell people where your mom lives, basically, or where you park your car at night.
Mine's in my garage. They can come look for it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, but if your car was innocent and defenseless, you wouldn't want to compromise its safety, would you?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, but yeah, I met Michael Phillips a few times now, like, actually.
I'm gonna say me and you've talked about one, I believe.
Yeah, we did talk about that one time at a party, and we were listening to music, and other people were there using time displacement, people from what is our current future. But
you know what it reminded me of when you were telling me it? It reminded me of that that event that Stephen Hawkins joked about hosting, where he had all these time travelers come together, and he had a time and location set, and he made a joke that he's like, well, I guess we'll never really know until we know that they showed up on time, because they can go back at any point and do it to fulfill the timeline.
Well, I think maybe
Can they
people
come back at any time, or specific times that are more widely known, their eccentricities? See, I'm still questioning about that. If they can actually have the freedom to go back into any point in time and just boop, 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 that would be too chaotic. Now, if they can go back to the time when Washington was reading those letters because he had 200 soldiers all looking at him and everybody knew what was going on in that area. Or that time when Abraham Lincoln was telling us, or, you know, in the theater. They are places where we know that certain events happen and lots of people wrote down the time specific for them. And so they can go back without interfering too much. Otherwise, they're just werewolves, pixies, and strange things and legends that happened in a wayward time. My opinion.
Yeah. Well, I think often as well, if we've been involved in any, like, especially time displacement projects, like time travel, as we call it, it might have something to do with the fact that we, as the subject of that travel, need to actually learn something. And that's just what it's all about.
Well, we are in essence time traveling as well.
Yeah.
We are here in a specific point in time, and we have as a purpose to learn something for our soul as well. We need to take something out of this life to make our essence better. Otherwise, there's no reason for our existence. Are we just here to mundanely fill every happiness requirement in our brain? No, we're here to actually make a purpose in life. Our destiny is to make the universe better. Now, will that feed us? Will that make us happier? Yes, that's an objective. It's part of the infrastructure that was put into place. We do good things, we feel better because the world is a better place.
Yeah,
I think I could be full of shit. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense to me in an ultimate major zoom out kind of picture, you know.
I am definitely majorly zoom out kind of person.
But there's also the important things, like, you know, helping to ensure that the earth isn't annihilated from existence and life isn't snuffed out, and humanity
Life will be snuffed out, but this time period won't be, because this existence won't be snuffed out. What we can snuff out is a future consequence of the bad decisions which will accumulate from this point. And so this point is simply cut off. But everything that we did before isn't eliminated because it already existed. The simple fact that it exists means that it exists. We can interfere with making future probabilities from existing. I don't know, am I making any sense?
I get what you're saying. Yeah. But do you not
I'm trying to work with the probabilistic, multidimensional quantum tree of destiny. We have this tree that's sort of drawn out for us, this ideal for our lives, from everything that our genetics, our culture, and everything else is supposed to get us to be this ultimate version of ourselves. But because we have free will, we can do anything. And each one of those quantum probabilities goes off into some other probability that either ends up in death or whatever, because the majority of the things that we choose end up taking away our virtue, disvirtuing us, and ultimately killing us, like my habit of smoking cigarettes. Yes, it's a free choice of mine, but it's going to kill me. We die of our own choices. However, whenever we have that destiny tree of all the probabilities that lead to what is the best of what we can do, is whenever we're able to achieve an aid to more people. The more people that we can help, that we can aid, the more change that we can add into the world. You know, like the Dalai Lama said, be the change you want to see in the world. Yeah, but if only you change, that's great. That's excellent. However, if we can actually say, hey, this is a way that I'd like other people to change too, and other people say, hey, I agree with that, maybe I'm going to change that way too, and people end up focusing more on love and harmony and nature and loving others and everything else, and not being a weak piece of garbage that lets people just walk all over you either. You got to be strong in order to be merciful. You can't be merciful from a weak position. Oh, please be merciful on me. It's going to cut your head off. You got no power. Whenever you have an ability to be, yeah, you're dead, but I'm not going to. You can only be merciful from a position of strength, and you can only be able to survive if you come from a position of strength. So you have to be strong first to be kind and merciful and everything else. But we can't be strong by destroying everything else. That's the nexus of understanding that I'm trying to understand, and two, I'm trying to get other people to understand, to where we have to be strong, but we can't be overwhelming, because we have to have an influence, because we can't grow on our own. We grow through the work of others with us, because everybody working together is what made society great. It's what made anthropological sense to the survival of the human species. We work together as a species. That's what makes us great.
Well, we're certainly learning how to do that. Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, it only takes time, but hopefully we are learning over the long run.
Yeah, people think I'm an asshole too because I'm strong. But the more people we help pick up, they end up saying, he's a nice guy. People think you're an asshole, or the people that think you're a bitch are the people that are threatened by it. Okay, it's a position of weakness from them, actually. I know, because I've been facing it for 20 years. That's a whole nother story we won't get into now. Yeah, I was a people pleaser too. Am I going to be trying to? Sorry, Jake, go.
No, you're
Elegant
fine.
Minds just has my brain in a loop there, but
I can tell you guys are connecting. I can tell you guys are connecting. I hope you guys, I hope she gets the chance to check out your YouTube and your book that you've been working on and all of that. Because, I mean, it sounds like you guys have a little bit of a connection, at least on the religious side as well.
It's not. She hasn't even mentioned anything else. Just the fact that she was maybe conservative, and you automatically assume everything else. Universal Galaxy.
She quoted the Bible. She quoted the Bible 3 times. So that's where I did it. She didn't even say God. She didn't have to. I knew what she meant.
Nothing to do with religion.
True. That's man's version of religion.
It's the whole vibe of the conversation. It's the whole vibe
we could go another hour on the Bible.
Oh, I could go another 100 days on the Bible at least. But that's a whole other story. Do what?
I said interesting number to pick, 100 days.
Yeah, you can pretty much figure out a person in 100 days. Like, for example, what the fuck has Biden done in 100 goddamn days besides stumble up the stairs, do all kinds of fucked up bullshit, screw up all kinds of peace agreements that we already had, get into bad fucking deals that we'd already gotten out of, fuck over the unions that actually voted for his ass, screw over the border, starts importing children to every single part of the country using the military to actually do.
Just another Democrat, I guess.
This fucking piece of shit anymore.
Maybe we should make him mayor of Detroit once he's done ruining America.
Hey, we've already got piece of shit as mayor of Chicago.
I mean, he couldn't. Have you been to Detroit?
No fucking way.
Yeah.
Elegant Mind, we're going to have to do a podcast. Detroit? Choose a day.
A lot.
We'll talk like 4 hours. Elegant Minds, just a podcast. You and I will go up for like 4 fucking hours on that. We can do an episode just on that.
She said she wants to get to know us. She said she wants to get to know us first, and then she's a little shy.
Yeah,
so
I saw that message too, but But holy shit, even if she appears just her voice without an image, doesn't matter. Just those ideas and that mentality that's coming through, that's what needs to be expanded on and taken into more detail and everything else, because that's the essence. I mean, what is it to be conservative? What does it mean liberal? What is it to be conservative? You value family. You value friendships. You value stability. You value the things that sustain a society over the long term. Now, once you establish that stability, the problem is that there are outliers that want to, definitely Michigan was lost because of them, but, so was Wisconsin. We got 5 states that will flip, and we'll have a whole nother 2021, baby.
So my biggest following with the Detroit thing and the Michigan thing in general was following Steven Crowder. I don't know if you follow his YouTube channel at all, but he lived in Michigan. He knew the mayor. He knew where the corruption was lying. He watched it happen to his grandma during the pandemic, and that to me was solid evidence. And then he went and checked addresses at specific locations in Michigan, and some of them weren't even real addresses.
His YouTube channel got pulled down because of that episode. I watched that episode. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's wild when you actually back information up with evidence that you can get pulled from YouTube.
They don't like the truth.
It's very interesting. They don't like the facts all the time.
No, did you hear this week they came out with more information that the FBI informants were the ones responsible for the project to apprehend Governor Whitmer?
No, I didn't hear anything about that. I knew they were still looking into the Whitmer case, and I was waiting to hear more about it.
The majority of the ones that were instigating it were FBI informants. They create the situation that they can set up other people to put them down. But they got to create the situation, because otherwise people don't give a shit. Nobody would do that. They just want to live their lives.
So why does Detroit keep electing a Democrat mayor?
Why does Baltimore keep electing a Democrat mayor? Because the election system is rigged there, and it has been for a very long time.
I don't even think it necessarily points that it's rigged. If somebody's promising you good things, you're going to vote for the person promising you good things.
No, it is FDR, and I love Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Don't get me wrong. I like that guy as a president and everything else. But how do you get elected 5 times without saying? And they mentioned, if you look at the cartoons of the time, the ones that we're making fun of at the time, you found out there was a machine. They would go out and they would harvest the votes. They would get people to vote for their candidate for whatever reason or however means they got it. FDR had, as Joe Biden would say, the most complete and inclusive election fraud system in our history. And that was actually a quote from Biden. The most effective and inclusive voter fraud system in our history. This directly from the guy who doesn't know how to fucking lie because his son's a crackhead.
He wasn't lying. It was one of those Biden gifts that everybody jokes about.
He's one of the most intelligent people he's ever met. This fucking crackhead that sold art for $500,000 to God knows who, because we aren't allowed to know.
Hunter Biden is a lovely person. Hunter Biden is not somebody we should be talking about. I don't know much about Hunter Biden, and I don't want to speculate on him. But I assume it's one of those roads that we shouldn't travel down.
We could talk about how awesome Nancy Pelosi is, too, while we're at it.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of Nancy, didn't she just get CV from the Democrats that fled AWOL from the Texas, their duties as Texas senators and that sort of thing? Biden's an idiot, not a puppet.
We could also talk about how Oprah would make a great president.
Her and The Rock, they should run together.
Yeah.
The Rock
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
her bitch. He would be perfect for her.
Because, you know, we really need a woman who's going to sex traffic all of the reasonably attractive American women to Jeffrey Epstein.
Wow. Do you
Isn't
think there's a guy
Jeffrey
there?
Epstein already
Because
dead?
whoa, hold on. Michael's got to elaborate.
How would she
on this
traffic
because-
him to somebody who's already gone?
Michael, I feel like you have more information here. You're leading into something. Explain a little bit more. Otherwise, I have to be like, these are just our opinions. If you have more information about this that you would like to talk about.
These are all opinions. Let it roll, Mike.
Well, we all know Oprah wants to be president. I mean, she's been talking about it for a long time already.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, I mean, there are pictures of her with that Epstein guy and other people who have been involved in sex trafficking of Hollywood actresses and etc.
The initials of her name might also have been on a plane registry that I can note.
Yeah, so we really need somebody like that in the White House, I think, don't you? It would be perfect.
I think it would fit into the grand scheme of things.
That
The way that
couldn't
they're
cause
going now.
that couldn't cause any problems whatsoever. I mean, that wouldn't basically just probably ruin the whole planet once again, right?
Right.
What, when we find out that every single person in charge is corrupted and controlled because of their freaking most banal urges? Sorry, I jumped in. Did I miss something?
That's what you're getting in 2024, though. It's
What,
Oprah.
Oprah?
It's Oprah or someone else.
I'm sorry. 2024 will be Trump's third term.
That's not going to happen.
Well, I already know my vote's either going to Michael or Andrew. So I hope my boys are running this year, this next upcoming election.
Well, you don't need to vote. They've already won.
This is how it works.
You're chosen beforehand. There's no democracy here.
I don't want the job. Are you kidding me?
Hey, you're the one who the CIA can tell what to do. So obviously you're going to have the job. And you can do it better than Biden. Why not you? Or you won't fall up the stairs.
Yeah, nobody tells me what to do. Let me tell you that.
Well, you'll be president the day that somebody finds out. But
yeah, they need somebody. They need somebody else.
There's a reason God never made me a president, because He knows the first day I'd press that big red bomb and I'd destroy like 5 countries on the planet just to fucking start off my day.
Well, I would be told what to do by the people. You know what I mean? Like if I were president, I'd be like,
You mean you'd be an actual democratic? You'd be an actual people of the democracy? That's strange. I don't know if we've ever had that before.
Yeah, right. I know.
I'd do what I fucking want to do, but I'd be voted in because what I want to do is what other people want me to do. Kind of like Trump. Build the wall. I like the wall. Get rid of TPP. Yeah, we'll get rid of TPP.
I'd be like, look,
he made a promise. He kept the promise. He did what he wanted to do, but people liked what he wanted to do, which is why they fucking voted for him twice.
Well, I mean, at the same time, I always felt like politicians, in order to get elected as president, have to make you a bunch of promises and then not fulfill them once they become president.
Trump was just a fucking badass that everybody wanted us to be his president for 20 fucking years. I remember when, the Playboy articles where they would ask him if he wanted to be president. We've been thinking about that guy because he knows what this country freaking needs. He's not a politician. He's got all the shit that he needs. That's the thing we like about this motherfucker. Yes, is he an asshole? So am I. So big fucking whip. He still made the country great again.
This is the thing, though. Like Trump, and you guys don't know it because there's so much censorship, but Trump was really great at reading my MySpace page and regurgitating everything that was written on it in 2001. You know what I mean?
Do you still have it posted? Oh, you've made new pages since then. Man,
Yeah.
I wish I could reference that because I wanted to check that because I could see his team doing something like that. Like,
That's
oh,
what
who's
they
got
did.
good words out there?
Of
Let me
course
go
they
grab
would,
up.
because Trump also traveled through time.
Yeah. Well,
His
I lived
uncle
in.
had fucking Tesla's
Don't
notes.
don't mix Barron Trump with regular Trump. Barron
No,
Trump.
no,
lived
Barron
in
comes
New York
later.
City at that point.
Barron comes later. He wasn't old enough to do all that shit, but he still has the knowledge. He'll still go back.
I wanted to jump in this earlier. We were talking about Tesla, and I wanted to ask both of you guys, what do you think the significance of Trump's family ending up with his documents and his research when he passed away?
Probable.
What do you think the significance of it? How do you think it helped them? Was it just a financial gain, or do you think they just sold off that information, or do you think it was something they actually utilized?
Something they could sell off. He didn't have access. He didn't have absolute access to it. He had access to study it.
Yeah,
The
I think
FBI gave him those documents because he was a preeminent professor in physics at MIT at that time. He was the most astute specialist in that material to be able to understand what the fuck they had just seized. Now,
I live near
once
New
he
York.
gets complete understanding of what the preeminent mind of this century had in his most personal notes, I guarantee you that he shared those with his favorite nephew.
Yeah, probably.
What were you saying, Michael? You live next to New York and what?
Oh, I lived right. Donald Trump and I were neighbors in 2001. No, what year was it? Hold on a second. Actually, end of 2003 until pretty recently. Actually, I mean, I only relocated to California a few years ago. So I've been in, residentially in northeastern Pennsylvania, which is like basically the suburbs of New York City, for a long time. And the wall was a joke. I made a joke on my MySpace page about how because I got a lot of Mexican friends, by the way. I got some of my best friends in this world are Mexican Americans.
You consider me as a friend?
Well, we're getting to know each other. Let's put it that way, right?
Well, I'm Mexican, so you can put me on that list too.
Cool. Well, me, I'm being half Irish. It's pretty easy for me to get along with Mexicans. It's like we're the same people, But but yeah, what was I forget what I was saying, honestly. Oh yeah, the wall. It was a joke. I made a joke. I was criticizing sarcastically, humorously, the nature of the xenophobia that America basically became after 9/11 due to the insanity of the Bush administration. And I was saying, why don't we just put up a wall on the Mexican border? Realize how insane that is and absurd it is. It was a joke. And then next thing you know, we have
I was thinking about a wall when I was 7 years old back in 79. Why?
Okay.
Because when you I cross that border 4 times a year. I know that border. Laredo was a place where I crossed all the fucking time. I know that border. And it's fucking porous as shit.
Yeah.
Now, you have to go through another checkpoint, but those checkpoints are on the highways. If people go through the middle of the freaking desert, I went one time, there was barbed wire fencing. I'm saying, how can any real country consider itself a country when it delineates itself with barbed fucking wire?
Well, I noticed it in media. I noticed it in media. I was seeing it in films. Just this is kind of a weird comparison, but the rape culture I see promoted in films is like a jail rape culture, like man to man. It's funny, blah, blah, blah. We'll laugh about it. I also saw that
Ain't that
with
fucking
border-
funny, bitch.
Well, no, I'm just saying that's what people do in the U.S. They make jokes about it. I don't know if you've ever seen Chuck and Larry with Adam Sandler. They always make jokes about dropping the soap. Half Baked is a great example. They make jokes about dropping the soap all the goddamn time.
Soap on a rope. There's a reason for that.
That's why you keep it on a rope.
Straight, bitch.
But the
There's
reason I
also
make
a
that
reason for people
comparison-
dropping their fucking trousers half down because it's a sign that they want to. But that's a
The
whole
reason I
other
make that
fucking
comparison,
story.
though, is we do that same thing with our border agents. We hire this force to protect our borders, and their job is to literally stand there and watch people come by. That's what it used to be. Like, I think it's changed since then. But yes, we used to watch people. We jokingly watch
Do
people
I build a wall on my house to watch people come in and out? I watch animals coming in and out.
That's
because
not why
I allow
you have
them.
a door on your house, but that seems
I don't
to
have
be
a
the way
door
that
on my
our-
house. I have a
our US
fucking
border is
wall
operating.
around my lot. For
That's what I'm
somebody
saying.
to
But what
actually
I'm
get
saying
to
is
the
you have
door in my
protection.
house, they had to get through a lot of shit to get there.
You have protection on your house because you want to monitor the people that come into it. Our government isn't actually doing that with our border. Our border
They never
is
were,
an
and I
ideology.
was screaming about that when I was a kid.
Our
'cause
border
I
is an
knew what was-
ideology. It's meant to be there in order to deter people from just walking in. But we're not necessarily.
We needed a wall, really. You need, and to be honest with you,
I think we
need a
need more
wall
than
on the
that. I
northern
think the
border
wall-
too.
I think the wall's kind of useless. I think the wall itself is just kind of a what's it
It's
called?
not useless for somebody
it's
who
kind of just
actually went through that area. Barbed wire is a lot easier to get through than fucking 10 feet of steel.
I feel
It's
like
a
you're
lot
living. I feel like you're
fucking
living
different.
20. I feel like you're living 20 years in the past. El Chapo was building mines going under the border, and he was literally on train carts driving pounds and pounds and thousands of dollars, millions of dollars worth of drugs. That's what he was
He
doing.
drove his own ass out
It
of
didn't
the
matter.
prison.
He didn't worry
On
about
a
climbing
motorcycle.
wall. He didn't worry about going over a fence or a wall or any of that. He
But he had
just
to
had
go
different
further
worries. I
down
think
to
we
get
need
past
to-
the U.S. and they still got sensors. They still know. They locked down lots of those houses that were close to the border that actually were the end of tunnels. Yeah, it's a constant war.
Touche,
Sorry,
on your
Elliot
mind.
Mine.
Touche.
You're right.
I've
You're
never had
right.
a fight with any Mexican person in my life. I mean,
I've had lots of them.
yeah, I never have. It's like, dude, let's go have a Corona and just chill out. It's fine, you know, we can get along.
You're not Mexican. That's the whole point. I mean, I remember I was brought up in the States, right? And I go back to Mexico to help my dad with business. And so I'm in my 20s. And there's this fight in a roundabout, a traffic circle. So I stop the car, and there's like 20 people watching these two guys just sitting there. And that guy, I start going in there to try and like make the peace. Yo, folks, what's going on? Let's figure it out. Let's talk this out. This old lady, I'm saying old, she's my age now, like 50 something years old. And she goes, hey, calm down. Let them sort it out. That's the way it is in Mexico. You hit somebody's car, you get out, you beat the fuck out of each other, and then you get back in your car and you go on, and each one pays for their shit. And the dumbass who hit you learns his lesson. He doesn't do something stupid in the future, or maybe not. That's the situation in Mexico City. That's what I grew up in. Okay, you don't trust the police to solve your fucking problems. The police are going to take money out of both of y'all and put both of y'all in prison. Police don't fucking help. You try and sort your shit out yourself. And when you don't have insurance to sort out, you sort it out with, you punch his fucking face in and you feel better. That's the way shit gets sorted out. Now, does that reality mesh with ours? Yes and no, depends. Should we be able to separate different places? We need walls, man. We need and to be honest with you, we need a wall with the Canadian border because that Canadian fucking prime minister, Canuck, freaking traitorous piece of shit, has already given the Chinese hundreds of thousands of people the capability of having tons of people on our border ready to come in. Why? Because he's a fucking worthless piece of shit and he caved into the Chinese.
That's a
Listen,
really long border, though. I mean,
before
Yeah,
you
it's
guys
a really
start
long
talking,
border. The Mexican. Do you know how fucking big the Mexican border is? And
yeah,
they've
of
already
course.
they've almost got that one shut down. You can shut down the Canadian border. Canucks
That's not
aren't
gonna-
that fucking tough.
That's not going to
before you
stop a
start-
million
Michael,
times.
before you start talking about that, I wanted to let you know that Rocco wanted to let us know he had some technical difficulties and he got dropped out. He wanted to keep talking to us though. So
Okay, I was wondering about that. I was curious.
yeah, no, he just
Rocco,
messaged
next
us to
time
let
you're
us know.
welcome. Show up.
Yeah, no, he's planning on coming on again, and we're gonna schedule something, and I'd like to hear what he has.
That'll work. I want Elegant Minds on.
Oh, I have a feeling she's gonna open up to us one of these times.
Yeah, I look young for 50. It's because that I have no fucking responsibilities and I'm still infantile and basically adolescent mind.
I just took a lot of drugs.
That too! That too! Yes! That too. But I can't admit to that on YouTube because it'll cost me jobs that I don't have and reputation that I lost a long time ago.
I spent a lot of time in Amsterdam.
I went 3 times there, couldn't ever fucking smoke because I was with my parents, my wife, or whatever, and I couldn't ever fucking smoke. God, I should have taken advantage of Amsterdam. Perfect shirt, Jake.
It's one of the
Perfect
great.
fucking shirt.
I
one of
don't
the great music.
have to talk about my experiences. I have my own experiences that are very much
Can't
personal.
talk about your experiences because they were fucking illegal.
Not if they were in Amsterdam. They aren't.
Oh yeah, location is key. Location is key.
I love Amsterdam. It's one of the greatest musical meccas of the entire world, actually. It's a pretty incredible place.
Little by little, join the chats and keep us in mind. Definitely, you'll get to know us. But anyway, where were we? Because I got
But I was
distracted.
going to say, Michael, feel free to let Elegant Mind know. I actually met Elegant Mind, I believe, through Tiffany, if that's correct. But Tiffany is a median, and she has a very good following. Tiffany is really nice. I hope to get her on here soon. And that's where I met
interesting
Elegant
contacts,
Mind.
Jake.
What's that?
You got some interesting contacts, Jake.
Yeah, I've definitely put my ear to the ground and been trying to find some new guests for the show. Just to trying to give. I want to have a full spectrum of guests on here. I don't want to have it too narrow-minded. I want to have everybody expressing their own views. And what I was going to say though is I wanted you to let Elegant Mind know. Me and you do a show every Thursday.
Yep.
We do our show every Thursday. It's
Today's
religious.
supposed to be my Portuguese show. I jumped in on yours because my lawyer buddy didn't show up. So, hey, I was going to do some other stuff on my, but hey, I prefer yours. YouTube live, having this chat and the interaction is freaking fantastic. So I love it.
I'm a lawyer.
Oh, okay.
I'm
you had
sorry.
talked about that before a little bit.
Why is he still on? He's a lawyer. What the fuck?
I became a lawyer, yeah.
No, my dad taught me, but the best way to live your life is to have a lawyer as your best friend. And I have 2 lawyers as best friends, so I figure I got that my basis.
That's the
covered
way.
there.
That's the way to live it. I mean,
Yeah,
you can cover your own
problem is that he's always saying you should sue that guy. You should sue that guy. I'll help you sue that other guy. And I'm like, no, dude, chill. That's not what I want to do.
The thing that's useful about knowing the law is that it's liberating in a way because as
You learn how to get around it.
well, it's not necessarily that, but as a non-lawyer, I suppose beforehand for a long time, you develop and are taught these kind of false impressions of the nature of our legal system systems, and you just tend to go on the assumption that they're true and that this is how it is.
True.
But when you actually study it, you realize, well, it's a lot more flexible than people realize. It's not as rigid, and people just kind of believe what they're taught a lot of the time, which is just patently false. The law is there to really protect you in a lot of ways.
Should be. It's twisted to protect those who don't need protection.
True.
Well, people, not really.
The people who need protection can't pay for the protection that they need. And the ones who don't need protection have the ability to pay people to make sure that they no longer need to be protected because there's somebody else with a legal freaking loophole that will protect them against anything. It's whoever buys protection, unfortunately.
But money isn't really the solution to that. It's other things, and money as a protection. It's kind of a false notion as well. I mean, you need some, but the idea that it's going to protect you and insulate you from everything that you do is just absurd, because how do you go about YouTube harassment? Write a letter to YouTube. You can actually, there are ways you can request YouTube just to delete stuff for you, and they'll do it. I've had to do a lot of stuff like that.
What do you mean by harassment specifically?
Yeah.
If you feel like talking about it, it might be one of those subjects you don't want to talk about. I understand.
No, it's a great subject to talk about because it's in the law. Now, right now, there are all kinds of lawsuits going up against Twitter, against Instagram, against Facebook, because they're censoring. Now, my question is, what is she considering harassment?
Yeah, if it's like,
Is there some harassment that can be dealt with, and others that are sort of state sanctioned?
Yeah, I just didn't know if it was more of a personal thing.
Well, if it's real, legal, bona fide harassment, you should probably contact the authorities in that location where that person is, if you know where that is. And
yeah, I would treat it like
you need a restraining order.
I would treat it like regular
order allows you to make
filer.
sure that nobody comes anywhere close to you.
That can be issued, but it doesn't even have to get to that point necessarily. You can literally just contact law enforcement, and they will go and talk to that person for you and say,
yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with Michael. Don't treat it like a YouTube case. Treat it like a law enforcement case, and hopefully that the police in your town or your district are going to be, attentive to that.
And again, what is stalking? I mean, when I was 17 years old, I'd camp out outside of my girlfriend's house and just watch what she did. Yeah, that's really cringy, and that would be considered stalking. But I didn't want anything bad. I just wanted to know what she was doing because I wasn't in her life anymore. And after a while, I got on. I did other things.
You could just block this person.
So stalking could be short term, or it could be like those stalking to where they want to control you. They want to know everything about you, and they want to do it. That one can be different. That one can be more dangerous. They can find whatever. For example, there was a guy who was parked outside of my house for 3 months. I eventually took a picture of his license plate. Why? Because he was stalking the house. They finally found out what a weakness was, and the 1 hour out of the week that I wasn't in the house, and they came in and they took the place for what they could until security showed up. So
Elegant.
Stalking have different levels.
Elegant. With you saying that the police station that you filed it with kind of laughed at you about it, what I would say is you need to go to the next higher authority above that local precinct, and then move from there. And then also, if you have to take YouTube or Google account measures, then I would also say to exercise those. But hopefully, you can go to a higher entity if your local police aren't actually handling this problem.
Right. Now, this person changes their identity on a constant basis.
Yeah.
The truth
Now
about
that-
all of that is
that is some sickly fucking stuff.
Yeah.
That goes beyond what I was talking about. I mean, that's
And that's hard to monitor for the police as well. So
no,
one of
and
those
it's
things you
not
might wanna
unless
share
he's
with-
actually done something wrong. The police can't actually do anything about it. I'd say hire a couple of ex-football players, go there and beat the fuck out of him, and tell him stop fucking around. And violence usually generates certain solutions.
That is a very
No, I don't
bad idea.
recommend violence, but at the same time, yeah, it solves a lot of fucking problems.
You did.
No, I never
He's
encourage. I never encourage any physical altercation between an ex and their former relationship participant.
No, hire other mercenaries to do it for you.
Okay, this is Michael's opinion, and it's not the opinion of anybody on this podcast besides
No,
himself.
it is only my opinion. Only
This is
my
a pen of perspective that we're getting right now.
Absolutely, we cannot Hillary anybody.
You could just change your name online, and he doesn't know that it's you. This kind of thing.
That's the problem, is that you're giving up your freedom and will because of somebody else's bullshit.
Well,
That we shouldn't
Yeah,
have to
but-
do in a free society.
have to. You shouldn't.
Well, I
have
mean,
to.
I also think there's a certain level
Sick,
of protection.
twisted fuckers shouldn't have access to general society. That's the whole fucking problem.
I agree with that, but
We want to allow
just like
everybody in. You got sick, twisted fuckers that want to do sick, twisted shit. No,
just like we were
allow
talking about
decent
with
people in.
having, just like we were talking about with having locks on your doors. There's a certain level of protection you have to have on today's current internet age, and if you don't know how to navigate it, it can be overwhelming, and people can follow you on every trace just because you want to make it so you can still be connected with the people that know you, and then at the same time, you can't make it too obvious where people can find you. So there's
Why do you
there's
think my
balance.
channel is called Mecon Phil?
There's a lot of precaution that you can take, for sure. But I mean, you can do a lot of things. It's just don't fall into the realm of you're doing something illegal and thus you get in trouble.
Exactly.
Like
yeah.
that can be used
Definitely.
against you. You know what I mean?
The
It's-
question is this: she already changed her name once.
Yeah.
She's going to keep changing her name to keep avoiding this motherfucker? No. The thing is that she needs to stand up and say, no, this is where I'm at, and this motherfucker ain't allowed. You have national borders, and you have access to who has access to those borders.
Sure,
You should
but
be able to do that.
this is all idealistic, and while that's good to aspire to, maybe the reality of it is that we. live
You're
in
as a lawyer, so
world,
what kind of legal recourse does she have?
Well, I would have to analyze how serious the supposed harassment is. First of all, on what
The more
level.
the more we're hearing about it, it seems to be pretty in depth. But I don't know what the conversation is between. If it's just a matter of wanting to know her location and whereabouts, or if it's actually more abrasive than that.
Yeah.
Oh,
could
no,
look-
I've got an ex-girlfriend that I'd like to know where she's at, and she's completely hidden out. She changed her name and everything else. I know a couple of friends that she had, and I'd like to. Why?
Well, I'm glad you're
It's
healthy
been
enough
25
not to
fucking
worry
years,
about
but I'm
that,
still
though.
curious.
I'm glad you're healthy enough not to worry about that, though. It doesn't take up a portion of your day. It shouldn't.
Shouldn't
yeah,
is the
it
operative
doesn't.
word,
But then again,
it's
nothing takes up a portion
Exactly,
of my
Michael,
day
I
because I'm
agree.
completely
It's an operative word.
self-absorbed. I'm completely self-absorbed. Nothing takes up my day other than what I want to take up my day.
It's also kind of unrealistic to expect society to do everything for you in a lot of ways. Police to do this and this and this and this, and companies to do this and this and this, because there's so much of this and this going on that to keep up with it is virtually impossible. So,
For example, we
ultimately,
have an example right now.
the responsibility.
Somebody
falls
is
on you.
hacking into our shit. Whether or not it's our own intelligence agencies, whether it's Russia doing that shit, or China doing that shit, or North Korea doing that shit, or the fucking Philippines. Who the fuck knows? Somebody's invading our shit and making major chaos and havoc. Why? Because when you can, you do. The only reason the people don't do when they can is because they know the consequences are superior, which is what the objective of MAD was: mutually assured destruction. You fuck with me, you're going to get fucked up. So don't fuck with me. That was generally the concept. I'm big and bad. You're not going to mess with me. I'll be nice to you. You be nice to me. And everybody's nice to each other when everybody's big and fucking bad. When everybody's, small, dilute, and going, somebody help me, somebody else is going, yeah, nobody's coming to help you, buddy. Because nobody comes to help you unless you help yourself. Then you can help others that are being beat up, and that's the objective. Not being one of the ones being beat up, always asking for fucking help.
Yeah, this is all very, primitive and animalistic type outlook on things, and that is how it has been. I agree, of course, but
and it will be.
It doesn't have to be.
People are. It doesn't have to be, and it shouldn't be. That's why we are born again. That's why we sacrifice our human perception and try and have something bigger and beyond ourselves, because it allows us to be better human beings. Otherwise, we are subject to our animalistic nature. And as long as this world is ruled by those in the animalistic nature, the only way to get better beyond it or defend yourself from it is the animalistic nature. If I'm not violent to begin with, I can't be calm and philosophical behind.
I mean, I agree with you on some stance, but I don't want it to have to resort to that.
Absolutely. I don't want to either. But if you can't guarantee that part, you can't have the other option. Because some asshole is going to take advantage of your weakness.
But there has to come a point in human thinking, the evolution of human thought, that there is a solution somewhere, and we must collectively adopt it and work towards it.
He lives, getting back to Elegant Mind right here. He lives in another state. Yeah, the cops aren't going to help you because that's out of their jurisdiction. And violence isn't going to help you because he's stalking you virtually. So I had a friend of mine.
Violence might not help you in a lot of aspects, legally, physically. She might not even have the capability of the violence that you're speaking of.
20 years ago, I was selling this virtual ID. It's biometric identification. It was called Lockout. Okay, and thing is that when they started to hack somebody's computer, the way that they fought back was they hacked their computer back. And they screwed up more crap than what they tried to screw up when they cracked their computer. Basically saying, don't hack us, hack somebody else, because you're going to get screwed when you do that. And so when we're dealing in a virtual world, then maybe the guy has to have virtual lessons. I don't know. I mean, it's not about physical violence anymore. We live in a virtual world. The virtual violence can be a lot more damaging than the physical. I mean, just look at the pipeline that was, what was it, Independence or Concord or what Keystone. Was it, the pipeline? Huh?
Keystone?
No. That was blocked by Biden, that fucking piece of shit. The pipeline that was knocked down between Texas and New York a couple of weeks ago, that was hacked. And so it made gas prices skyrocket. Okay. They're going to be doing that now that they've got cyber Polygon going on last week from the World Economic Forum. We can expect that they're going to activate that program, which is going to be massive, huge hacks of everybody's computers and virtual systems and everything else. And that's a way to where You can actually intimidate somebody who's stalking you virtually. Okay, find a hacker to break it into his computer and say, look, stop bothering me. Piss off. Or let him stalk you. Fuck it. Who cares? As long as he's not saying anything or doing anything, let him watch what he wants to fucking watch. That's another option too. So I don't know in which band he was going. He's going to visit you. You still want to talk to him, and you're afraid of him stalking you? I mean, holy fuck.
Yeah, that's not going to help you if you're going to let him visit you and you're accusing him of stalking. You have to draw a line somewhere, basically. And
exactly. Get the fuck away from me. Physically, virtually, everything. Forget me. Don't even just go.
And it has to be done.
So I want to jump in here, and that's why I put that post up, because I didn't put it up the first time she wrote it, because that kind of diminishes her story. You don't invite somebody over that you're trying to get out of your life. And especially men. I'll be the first one to tell you, the last thing you want to do is keep a guy on the hook. You don't understand.
We're thinking about it as guys. She's thinking about it as a woman. It is completely different. As a guy, you don't invite your enemy over because you know what the fuck your enemy is up to. Women don't have that mentality. Women believe that they can still win people over, that people can still be brought to the good side. No, that doesn't exist.
I would say the best thing, Elegant, I would say the best thing is not letting him know your current location anymore. Maybe you have to change location.
But he doesn't, but he still follows her.
He knows.
Stalkers do that.
Yeah.
I moved to California, so.
you can move, but I would say the best thing to do is cut off ties, because anytime you leave that option open. I moved
to Brazil, but you can't run away from everything.
You can't run away from everything, but also don't leave that fish on the hook. If you leave that fish on the hook, he knows
that
what line he's on.
Loose.
Exactly.
Well, you can always run to something better.
No, you don't run. You go to something better and you leave something behind. You can't run from something and pick something else up, because otherwise you're still running. You can't run. You have to face what you have to face. And then when it's dealt with, you can continue on in your path. Because that thing that you have to face is either in your path. Or if that thing that you have to face is not in your path, then fuck it. Go on your path. And that thing that you were supposed to face, it doesn't matter, because you continued on your path and it doesn't matter anymore.
Exactly. As long as it's your path. You don't want to start a path to fill a void.
Just to have vengeance. No, fuck that.
Exactly.
It deviates from your path. Find your path, which is your path to your destiny. Each step that you need to make your life better and more significant. Period. The end. Sorry.
Exactly.
And of course, there's a lot of stuff you can do legally there to stop that from happening. You don't want to. You definitely don't want to make any move that will make you look like the bad person in this, because that could give you legal problems. That person could be crazy enough to use something against you, like legally, use some legal precept to create problems for you. That happens all the time, where you're the good guy, someone's giving you a hard time, and they find out something about you, like, say, I don't know, you let your dog crap on the sidewalk or something like that, you know what I mean? And they'll make a huge issue out of that with every bit of the law that they possibly can, and then you end up in legal trouble because of that. And so you kind of have to measure it as well and see if it's actually worth doing anything, because it could bring something back upon you as well. That's another thing you got to think about.
Karma's a bitch. Karma always has a way to come back and biting you in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You do reap what you sow.
Absolutely.
Well,
Now she's moving again. The problem is she's moving again. She's blocking again. And it doesn't stop. Now, how do you make those things stop? Now that's
If it gets really bad, you can legally change your name and this kind of thing. It is doable.
I know it's just horrible to tell somebody that they have to go into hiding because somebody's.
that means you're still running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get both sides. I get the idea that you don't want to run, and I get the idea that you want to be protected and not have to worry about it. But at the same time, there's got to be a middle ground in there somewhere where the law is going to help you in some way. But it just
Now, here I have
seems
to
like
put
she's
in.
tapped out those resources.
Here I have to intercede and supersede both of y'all because y'all don't believe in the same crap that I do. And here I have to talk about Miss Mines and let her know that there is only one that can defend you from the demons that seek to destroy you. He who put you here in the first place. Seek God. He'll put you under his wings, and everything else falls into place. Follow your path, follow your steps, and let everything else fall by the wayside. When you are under God's protection, nothing will harm you, even though they bare their teeth and they say that they're going to do something, they won't. Peter was bitten by a snake twice. The natives of that island thought that he was evil because, well, the spirits showed their vengeance and judgment on you. They came out of the woods and they bit you, but their bite did nothing to him. Why? Because there can only be one, and he is above all. We all serve him. Every time you put that up, Jake, I don't know if you're saying that I'm talking too much or what. But
no, have you ever seen Highlander? That's like their catchphrase. There can only be one. So whenever
I watched like one episode. I thought they were bizarre. And
there's
there's
movies, there's episodes. It just makes me giggle every time. Whenever somebody says there can only be one, that's the only thing that pops into my head. I don't know. You're talking about it. I just like to.
But there is only one. In fact, that was one of the things that made Abraham. There was another prophet before him. That's where he was fighting the priests of Baal that basically had proven that might makes right. And he proved that, well, yeah, the one true God does exist. And he proved himself a long time ago. Now, they don't scare you because you don't know them, Elegant Mind. They should scare you. Anyway, there are powers well beyond what humanity believes is possible. Okay, we are but grasshoppers. We are nothing. And yet we are glorified and we are great because we are the base of existence. Our creativity, the way for us to interact in this world is the reason why this world was created, because we have the capacity to co-create. Within those who were created before us, we are insignificant and much less powerful than they. And so when they decide to intervene, which they have in many occasions, it can be very destructive in the end. So we have to come back to the source because he is the one that guarantees all. Period. Even the Anunnaki in their stories mention the fact that Noah was saved because the Creator wanted it so. Even the fucking Anunnaki, which the Sumerians freaking believed in, their alien god said, why did you do that? Well, I wanted to destroy everybody, but why did you let him on? Because the Creator wanted that guy to. There is one above them. And it's that one who talked to us through a little book. He's been talking to us for a long fucking time, with people listen to him or not. No, God protects us from fear. Fear is the opposite. God is hope. God is love. God is
Did you read the Old
everything.
Testament? Come on. What are we talking about here? We're talking about two different gods.
No, they're exactly the same. What you don't understand is the why of the Old Testament. Yeah, wipe out every man, woman, and child. Yes, because they're infected, and they must be. And they weren't wiped out, which is why we have the problems today.
So don't you think you should fear that as a human, to be straight off course and be strucken down by your God?
Yeah, absolutely. I fear God above everything else, because if I'm not doing the right thing, he will strike me down. And when he puts me in the hands of the demons, I'm fucked.
I
The
just don't
demons
think
ain't
New
gonna give a
Testament.
shit.
I
They're
just
gonna
don't
rip
think
my
New
chest
Testament
out
God.
100 times a day, and I'm gonna feel it every fucking time.
I just don't think New Testament God would strike people down like that. There's no signs of it in the whole New Testament. I think it's interesting. I feel like the New Testament was definitely written off of the Old Testament, but it seems to have a different premise.
What's the difference between the New Testament and the Old Testament? There's one being there that makes the difference between one and the other.
I think it's the same God, but
Yahweh
is.
or Jesus? Which one are we talking about?
Both are the same. Father, Son. Yeah.
I think Yahweh is a different than Jesus and God.
Okay, Sensei.
I can
I get that.
I can pull up evidence that supports mine. What do you think? What do you think makes besides religious teachings outside of the Bible, which is people's interpretation of how you should understand the Bible? Where have we ever seen in writing that Yahweh and God are the same person?
All right. John 1:1.
John 1:1. Let me see. I want to pull it up.
Keep
going. I want to pull it up just for reference, just to make sure
make sure it's a good translation first, though. That's important.
Okay, King James it is.
That's a terrible translation.
It was a joke.
It's one of the best ones, man. Come on.
Use maybe like the NIV or something.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. The Word being Jesus.
That, sir, is a bad translation.
Okay. All right. So give me the correct translation of that one.
It's important to go into the
original. I'm pulling it up right now, and I'll let everybody.
You'll get a better sense. An interlinear translation would be helpful then if you're going to use that scripture or examine that scripture.
I got it,
because it goes into the original languages and shows you that it's actually translated badly.
I'm a translator, so I know that most people fuck up.
Very good.
Because I keep correcting everybody's goddamn problems and mistakes.
Yeah, that was translated incorrectly for political reasons by King James, and it's been handed down to other Bible translations over time as well.
Let me see.
Wasn't the Septuagint one of the best versions?
The Septuagint, the Greek Septuagint.
Yeah, they took 6 to 7 different versions to try and find one that was the same.
Yeah, that's older. So definitely the older, the better. King James was only made in the 1600s or something, 1700s?
Yeah, after Martin Luther translated into the Gutenberg Bible.
Yeah,
which was the first printed Bible.
You got to go to like the oldest text you can get your hands on.
Because so where would that phrase differentiate from what would be the original Hebraic or Greek?
So I don't know if can you guys see it pulled up right now?
Yeah, I see it.
Now I see
I have the King James version. I have the ASV version. I have all of the versions that we can fathom at the moment, and this is their various deviations.
Thank you very much, Jake, for this. All right, Michael, hit me up. Which one of these versions are you talking about?
Yeah, these are all problematic because they're derived from the King James translation, which is just still later, you know. So you need to go back
And
older
so where are
than
we
the
going to
King.
find another version?
There's plenty of them. You can actually see.
You name
like,
it. I literally have the list of all of the versions right here.
What is
Yeah.
that Phillips version?
The
But
Phillips version seems to be the longest. At the beginning, God expresses himself, that personal expression, the word was with God and was
Consciousness.
God, and he exists with God from the beginning. All creation took place through him, and none took place without him. In him appeared life, and this life was the light of mankind. The light still shines in the darkness, and the darkness has never put it out.
That is
And then
what
it
would
looks
be
like
more proximate to
Jubal,
my concept
King
of
James
quantum
version.
physics and our perception of reality.
yeah, this is a really actually it's strange because the correct understanding of this has to do with the condition that you find yourself in, which makes you more disposed to certain things.
Trying
Like
to figure that one out, Jake. I'm still reading that. Trying it blows my mind actually. That version,
Yeah.
the OJB version.
Yeah, it's a little interesting to say the least. And they actually reference a version of Yahweh. And that's why I also think is interesting all the different versions of the spelling of Yahweh and his depiction.
Are there any that you found that are show what
They're not dated.
said, like, from
So they're not
before
dated.
the
I
King
just
James?
don't
Yeah.
know if you have a specific version you want, I can click on it and we can go to that. But
Yeah,
I don't. They're not dated.
well, there's
I would
quite
say
a few of
the
them.
best version we could get is literally from some kind of Hebrew
Phillips
text.
version.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them. It just seems that all of these have been derived from the King James version for some specific agenda or reason, which is
But
probably
then we'd have to go to the Dead Sea Scrolls.
well, you can read those. You can read older texts from before the King James version. Like, they do exist. You can actually go look at them. I've seen a few, like right up in
Jake, you're gonna have to send me a version of that Phillips. It seems a little bit more expanded than what I'm used to. So I'd be interested in that link, please.
Will do.
Thank you.
But yeah, no, there's.
So yeah,
there's,
I have
think
a tendency of
down to it. I think the
basing
Bible
on King James student and my Concordia Lutheran study Bible. That's been the basis. Now, all the other studies that I've done on your Vedic texts and on studying the Quran and the Torah and also the Torah. But I was thinking more of in Confucius, the Tao, and that sort of thing to get an academic notion of the greater existence of reality, including Enoch and the Sumerian texts and everything else. Yes, absolutely. If you are under elegant mind, if you are under the wings of God, you need fear not any demon. Absolutely. However, if you're on your own thinking that we're big bad human beings and we can take them on without anybody's help, yeah, that's a whole nother story.
Well, darn, guys, without even thinking about it, we're at about 3 hours and 45 minutes right now. I mean, 2 hours and 45 minutes. Sorry, we have
2 hours and 45 minutes alive. Holy crap! Elegant Minds, thank you very much for the input. It has been an excellent episode on your leads, definitely.
There's a good
Michael. Definitely always a pleasure. That California.
Say that again, Michael. Say that again, Michael. I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I just shared a link in the private chat that shows the original common Greek languages of that particular passage, and you can see how the words are clearly different, but they're translated in some of them are translated as the same word when they're originally actually different words. So you kind of have to look at that one very clearly.
Okay, I see what you were
the
saying.
translation
Okay,
I see in orange from what you gave us, Michael, the translation I see in orange is almost the same as what I see in my King James.
But the key thing there is
no. I see. I'm going to show you in a second what Michael was saying, but basically the transition from Hebrew to English and the common understanding, there's not words that replace certain Hebrew words. So there's a certain understanding that comes with translation, and you probably know that, Mr. Penna. If when it comes to translating languages, there's certain things that just won't come across in certain languages. Yeah. Let me show you
some things that you it's much more complicated to get the same idea into another. Yeah, absolutely.
That's my point. And the point with that specific scripture, though, is that it was actually mistranslated intentionally by the King James.
That's what I want you to dig down deeper into.
It was for political reasons, because somehow it was that King James just wanted more power and territory. I'm not sure the exact history, but it had to do with that. And well, a lot of people, but regardless, it was mistranslated improperly from the original languages. So what you really need to do there is go back and look at the original languages and see that there is a different shade of meaning for certain words that were all translated as the same word.
Illuminate me. What is that different shade of meaning?
Well, let me show you.
How should we interpret that particular passage we're talking about differently? What's the different light that we should see it under?
Right. The point there is that if you look at the words theos and logos, and then the word theon, or theos and theon especially, they're both translated as capital G God, whereas one of them is, if you actually, but they both have two different meanings, right? So you have to really kind of examine what each one.
Theos, I would recognize as the Greek god. What is theon? What would be the difference between a theon and a theos? Theos, I recognize as the Greek word for God. What would theon be?
There's God, capital G, and then there's God, which would be more correctly translated as lowercase g.
Which one of is the N or the S lowercase g?
I'm trying to.
Let me jump in here. So I have Theon highlighted right now. Let me jump in here. I have Theon highlighted right now. The deity.
Theos would be a lower, lesser denomination.
Seriously, really? Divinity, I always thought Theos would be the bigger one.
Figuratively,
Theos is a diminutive.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's interesting.
That was new to me. I learned something every day. Thank you very much, Michael.
I am a minister. That's what I do.
Yeah, you never mentioned in which church you were a minister of.
It's not a church, so I'm not religious.
Yeah, you're a minister.
Correct. Well, a minister is just a teacher, so you don't have to be part of a church to be a teacher.
Well, in that case, I'm a minister too. Hey, I'm a teacher. I teach right here. My mug says it all right there.
Well, there you go.
My mug says I'm a minister.
Well, I'm just trying to qualify that a little bit with what I just was saying. I think you'll find
and I appreciate that. Now, now let's see that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, big G, and God, little g, was the Word.
So it shows a different status between.
That means the Word was with God, the big G, and God, little g. Jesus was the Word, because Jesus is the Word through which this entire universe was, the interference pattern through which this holographic universe was created. That would be another interpretation that I would now draw from that same text. Would I be wrong or?
That would
Yeah,
seem
that's
correct.
the image that I was looking at. Exactly. That one
So-
right there.
So they're different words, right?
Yeah. So you got the first one. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with, in this case, God, big G, Theon with an N, right? The Word was with God, and God was, and here, Theos, little g, God was the Word. So there's a little g that was the Word. Is that what you were talking about, Michael?
Yeah. So it's basically
So we
it
got
shows
the
that,
Word was with the big creator God, and the
Hmm.
little creator God was the Word.
right. So it's kind
So
of
it's possible that there could be a little creator God and a large creator
Which would be
God.
Jesus.
yeah. That's what we were talking about. And if you
So
look at the
Theon would
original,
be God, and Theos would be Jesus. Because the Word was
Possible.
with God, and the God was the Word.
So which one is
Basically.
Yahweh? Or are they both Yahweh?
Yahweh would be Theon, would be the
Father,
creator,
Son, and the
Father
Holy
God,
Spirit.
the big G.
Well, because I think it's a cop out to say everything's Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. I think that's a cop out. I think these are specific entities. God presents himself as a specific entity. Yahweh also does, and so does Jesus. And I think they all need to be recognized as characters in the Bible.
Okay, now the Rastafari recognize Jah as a form of Yahweh.
Yeah.
So now we got the Rasta also talking about Jah as the same one. So we all got the same God, right? Is that what we're talking about?
No, I'm referring
Rastaman, let's go
to
party.
the
Let's
Christian.
be in peace, man. That is good, man.
I'm
did you know
referring
that if you
to
repeat,
the Christian Bible and or the Hebrew Bible, where they reference an entity known as Yahweh, and they don't note his significance to God. I don't think they are the same. But like I said, if you have something that proves me they are the same in their text, I'd be happy to read it. But I haven't
That's a
yet.
question that I have
met
not
the
brought up,
same.
so I don't know the answer to it. Good
Even
question,
with what
Jacob.
Michael
Thank you
showed
much.
me.
I'm curious.
Even with what
well, I
Michael
don't
showed
believe
us,
they're the same
that
either,
shows
so-
that there. I think that shows you that there's two ways that they
There's a
were
difference in the
identified.
translation. There always has been.
Oh yeah, it's controversial, definitely. But it's an
Always.
interesting topic to dive into, just because
But
everybody's
where's the
got their
truth?
own interpretation of it.
Yeah, the problem is that we've got our own interpretations. What's the truth? Science has lots of things.
That's a good
Does
question.
gravity make a feather fall as fast as a hammer? Yeah, well, it depends. A feather drops really fucking slow and a hammer drops fast. In zero vacuum, yes, it's true. Okay, so what is truth? We try and find it through the scientific method. Now, he's already told us about what his will is. We keep trying to prove what he already told us. So, with all those divergencies and differences, we test the hypotheses to find out which one of those has more veracity. That would be the scientific method, which is question everything and accept what you can prove. More or less.
and
Yeah,
don't
I
accept what you can't prove.
I accept a lot of things that I can't prove. It's called faith.
Mm-hmm.
Faith,
But to know
Yeah, I
if-
get in a lot of problems with that.
expectation of things.
But to know if one's faith is blind.
Faith isn't blind. Faith is
It
your
can be.
cognitive.
What if somebody has
focus.
faith? What if somebody has faith in something that you wouldn't consider to be a divine entity? You have your faith in something that you consider positive. What if somebody had their faith in Satan, thinking that Satan is going to come back and save them one day? Would you
They
think
can
that would
have
be blind
faith in
faith?
the lie. They can have faith in the lie. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen. They can have faith in that. Absolutely. Why? Because they have been drawn towards that. Okay. Faith is your blind belief. Faith is belief without proof of knowing. Okay, now,
What were you
if your
saying, Michael?
faith that evil is going to make you prevail, congratulations. You have faith. You have faith in another entity in which I choose not to put faith in. Why? Because I choose to believe that eventually, if in the end perspective, God wins. It's my hope. It's my faith. Otherwise, my life is meaningless. All the bullshit that I've tried to fight for and do in my life will be meaningless because evil prevailed, and fuck it, I just should have killed everybody who I disagree with, bribed as many people as I could, and be a twisted fuck, and I'd be a millionaire, maybe even a billionaire right now, and fuck all y'all because y'all aren't significant because I'm worth a fucking billion. Ha ha! So then my faith would be ill-placed in those situations. I happen to have a faith that tells me that there is something beyond this reality that judges us in this reality and finds out if we're going to be able to function in the post-reality or whether or not we're just garbage that needs to be recycled. And that depends on us, whether or not we follow the precepts that were placed before us on how to be decent human beings and not pieces of selfish garbage. I don't know. It's my position. I could probably be wrong. Most likely am. I don't know. That's what I believe.
I'm post-human.
Well,
you're
go ahead,
post-human?
Michael.
What does your moonstone tell you, Mike? You're post-human?
I'm a new creation.
What does that mean?
A new creation in Jesus Christ.
Born
I am
again?
not the sadistic piece of shit that I always was.
Not really a human being anymore.
What are you, Mike?
Something a little extra, maybe.
Such
Star
as?
seed, if you will.
And how? Elaborate. Use your moonstone and elaborate.
I think it will become evident naturally,
Time?
without any puffery or grandiosity.
God damn, I hope
Have
so.
to have puffery. Just have to have a little bit of substance. Doesn't have to have puffery. Just has to have substance. How are you a new being so that we can be new beings as well, Mike?
Well, maybe you don't want to be. You know, it might be a little bit overrated.
I fucking personally, I love being. I wouldn't want to be anybody else. But that's just my arrogant me. There's one before me who is greater than me who says that I should be more like what the Father told us we should be like. And so those solutions I try and find when there is peace and justice and harmony and life. That's what I look for, period. Everything else is the thought experiment, and I enjoy it. Mm-hmm. But I'm looking for the Father, personally. That's just my really screwed up and fucked up perspective.
Well, guys, I think we're gonna wrap it up. We're coming on to about 3 hours. I feel like that's a good time to wrap it up. I'm so glad to have you back on here, Michael Macintosh, because I haven't had you on in a while. And Michael Pena, it's always good to have you on.
Thanks, Jake. Thursday we'll do this again.
Thursday.
We'll have a topic, but I love talking to Michael. Definitely, it's always a good conversation with Michael. I enjoy his.
Well, I also want to get Michael on where he's back talking again about his own experiences as well, not just shooting the shit with us. I appreciate that as well, but at the same time, I love hearing whether it's
there you go. We've got his notebook that we've got to go over, his ET logs that we got to go over. Definitely.
Well,
I actually made an entry before I came on the air. I actually made an entry before I came on the air.
Oh, I thought you just said overtime show. I didn't hear you quite. quite clearly. Did you say overtime
Sounds
show?
like overtime show to
You want to
me.
go another 2 hours? You said
It sounds like overtime show to me.
intermission. You need, Michael, and then we'll get back to it.
Because if we go on a Wednesday show, then he'll forget about it.
Oh
Well,
no,
it's
he's got it written
written down,
down now. It's entered.
I've got it written down, and I won't forget about it. It was too significant.
You can't. We can't close the podcast with that. You
Well, it
can't
was
just
just-
leave us with this
Well,
bombshell and then
But
walk
it's
away.
perfect because wait,
It's very
tune in
simple.
next week or tune in tomorrow for the intrinsic details of Michael's ET notebook. That
Basically, I
would be a
just discovered
perfect place
that
for regular TV programming to continue, but this isn't regular TV programming. This is your channel, Jake. You choose.
Michael.
basically,
Go ahead.
I just discovered that I'm able to hand down my mental abilities to my offspring because I discovered that my 8-year-old son has these abilities, and he actually has them even stronger than I do, which is amazing.
Excellent.
That's it.
Are you able? All right, we're gonna. All right, I have 1,000 questions already. How available are you tonight? I kind of do want to take an intermission, and I'll check back with you if you feel like going on again. We'll go on again tonight. I got the energy tonight.
Yeah, I mean, sure. If you want to talk about it.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
game.
I am curious.
We'll take a pause. Publish 3 hours on your YouTube. Send me a link so I can publish it on mine, and then we'll start overtime.
Yeah, no, we'll share the link. I know with a 3-hour podcast, it's going to go at least until tomorrow for how long it takes to get the copy for me. So, but yeah, we'll wrap it up now, and the three of us will touch base here in a minute, and we'll figure out what we want to do next. Because
Jake,
I want to know more about this.
oh, I want to know that notebook that we got to open up that fucking notebook. Definitely.
We've already opened up the notebook. I want to hear more about the new entry.
The new entries exactly the new entries.
Well, it's
All
about
right.
my
Well, thank you
son,
guys.
so-
We're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you, Elegant Mind, and thank you everybody else for tuning in. We will talk to you soon.
Peace out. Peace in, as Aaron would say. Thanks, Michael. We'll be talking to you. That is fucking awesome. We'll be carrying on another 2 hours on that notebook.
Oh, geez. Sure, why not?
Oh, at least an hour. I know you've got enough stuff on there, and I always like talking to you, Michael.
Yeah, same here.
We've got different perspectives on things, but I got no problems with that. I'm firmly and concretely tied within mine, but everything else is an intellectual exercise that I enjoy, and it allows me to focus my chi, improve my consciousness, expand my consciousness, and be a better individual overall with a better understanding of the reality in which we are in. So I always appreciate any and all conversations with you, Michael. Definitely.
Cool. Same here. It's you know, it's good to be able to talk with people who we have things in common with, you know, and we can all.
My question about the moonstone and the conversation and that sort of thing, has it actually helped you in concentrating your conversation in helping you get? Because one of the things that I was mentioning is that idea of, you know, all the other ideas and the perspectives of people around us and everything else. Whenever I was trying to do a counterpart on Stoicism that Jacob had with Ryan on his program, one of the things that I mentioned was, imagine that you're on your path and you're in the middle of a stream. You let the water run around you. All those perspectives of all those other different people and all those other mindsets that your empath mind wants to please are water in the river. You allow them to flow through you. They will take some sand off your borders, but you continue walking forward through the water. You allow the water to flow past you, but you continue on your path. You take each step independent of the water that is flowing around you. That helps in communication. You have a message that you want to convey, you convey that. Later on, you found out what the turmoil of the waters did to the island, but you take your steps towards your path, regardless of the waters. And as an empath, I'm also an empath because I consider myself a chameleon for many, many years, because I lived in many different cultural realities and I had to adapt myself to lots of different cultural realities. And so I got lots of different perspectives that integrated my own. My Peña perspective isn't one perspective. It's the culmination of thousands of perspectives that fed into mine. So the idea of you going towards your destiny and taking your steps is part of communication, because getting that idea across allows you to build that bridge that you need to take those next steps. And so in the communication is not disregarding the other opinions, but allowing them to flow past, because trolls will be trolls and people will have their ideas, but you still have to get your idea out. See what I'm saying?
I don't really. It's for me. It's like it's more a thing of getting things done than talking about it. You know.
True. More action than speaking, and you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
absolutely
and
right in that.
Really, all that I have to do until the point of being able to do something is.
So, how much of that would be including you transferring some of that incredible wealth that you've already built up in Bitcoin into my account so that I can pay for my kids' graduation party?
Well, my own kids are not having a graduation party, so I think
I don't know. $100 would actually, go a long fucking way.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a whole nother story, and then that's got nothing to do with anything else. I just put that out there, considering that you're a Bitcoin millionaire and I'm not. So maybe the haves can help the have-nots.
Billionaire.
Maybe the haves can definitely help the have-nots. More to my favor. Well, that was just our conversation. We can go back on to
defeating the purpose, because really at this point you can do that yourself.
Yeah, I don't have the $100 to actually put into that, but that's a whole nother story.
$20, you can start it with $20, and you just grow it. And
I spend that on beer, being happy today versus being happy tomorrow. That's part of my problem.
And the thing about it is, it's the type of thing where if I were to just give it to people, it would be
meaningless.
It wouldn't be as useful because it wouldn't teach them anything. You see?
So you want to teach people something, not necessarily just help them.
Well, it's important that people learn how to do this for themselves, because it's not something that anybody can't do. It's not something special anymore. Anybody can do it. And this is the great thing about it. And if you don't do it for yourself, you won't see just how easy it is.
That's the same thing as writing down your objectives.
Yeah.
5 to 10% of humanity actually write down objectives, and that happens to correspond with the 5 to 10% of humanity to actually succeed.
Yeah.
The people who don't write down their objectives don't get anything done, which is the great majority of people.
I write them down.
Don't put money into Bitcoin don't actually get anything in return for it. That is a great majority of humanity.
Well, but the thing is, we are on the verge of most people waking up to this. I know it seems ridiculous right now because we're in such a weird point, but
Yeah, but when most people wake up, it's going to be too fucking late.
no, that's not true. This is the thing. It is absolutely not true.
Really?
And you're going to see that proven to be the truth before very long.
I hope so.
And you know, there are going to be people who were broke a few years ago who are going to be, by the end of this decade, or they're going to be trillionaires.
That'll be great. I hope I'm one of them. If you're one of them, and you most likely will be, don't forget your little friends from the past.
I don't forget people.
Those that you can.
But the thing is, you know, it's about helping people learn more than just, you know, there's that
People
thing.
have to eat before they learn, and that's one of the things that I'm learning about my book is because you still have Maslow's pyramid. People have to have their basic necessities before they can reach that self-fulfillment and that self-awareness portion of destiny, which is one of the things that I've got, for example, with my wife. My wife is still stuck on the first or second tier of Maslow's pyramid, whereas I'm trying to reach that culmination of Maslow's pyramid, which is the self-awareness and your self-destiny. Getting her to where I am requires somebody to be where she is in my perspective. I can have these, you know, Marxian thoughts because like Marx, I don't have to pay my own fucking debt. Otherwise, I would be a cold motherfucker because you're spending my money. This time is my money. Time is money. My attention wasted from where I'm making money doesn't matter because I got to make money, because I got to pay the bills, because I got to put food on the table, because I got to whatever.
I understand.
People focus on the survival and it ends up taking them to the most animalistic aspect of their reality. Jake, did you start a new one or did you jump into the last one because you can, or are you?
No, we're still live. I just didn't end it. I had to pop out real quick.
Seriously, we're still live this entire conversation. Holy shit, I'm fucked, Mike. I didn't know we were still live. We should have been talking about that.
Am I gonna have to edit this? What did you put in here that I didn't get to see? Am I gonna have to edit this? Michael, what did he go off into a tangent about? Makes me worried. He had 12 minutes unsupervised.
Yeah. Rewind.
I'll have to double check it, but I assume it should be okay as long as we didn't talk about anything too crazy. But I'm gonna end this live stream and then I'm gonna start us up a new one that I really want to do. I wanted to go over your book and talk about your new admission to it.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I'll end this one. Mike, if you can hear us, we're going to sign this one off, and then we will start up a new one here shortly.
All righty.
Thanks, guys.
No worries. Thanks, Jake. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate everything. Have a good night.